Okay, welcome to this week's Street Talk, everybody. We've just discussed about what we're going to do about these predictions, because on Monday night we made some predictions about what would happen for the rest of the week. I think what we'll do is talk about what happened on Monday first, then we'll kind of splice those in, and you can kind of skip them if you want to, or put a timestamp in or whatever, and then you can carry on listening to what actually happened for the rest of the week and see how right or otherwise we were. So, how do you want to do this, Gemma? Do you want to just launch straight into what happened, or do we want to kind of do some general thoughts of the week first? Or
I think we should talk about what happened. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm sure we'll talk about things as we go along, but there was only one story this week.
What about Craig?
What
we
about...
have to tell Craig's story first. Right, Monday is probably, I guess he had cereal for breakfast.
Craig
went on a run with his friend Imran.
No.
In the morning.
Stop it. We need to go. Right, so...
Imran's probably going, do you know what, mate? I've got a bit of a dodgy tick, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having a bit of palpitations on this run. Maybe I'll give it a swerve today.
But I spent much longer than I needed to thinking of storyline titles for this one, for Imran's death. I had lots. They were all terrible. We put the request out to Charlie DeMello himself, and he actually did come up with a good one.
He came up with quite a few good ones.
He came up with a few good ones. I came up with some okay ones, but in the end we are going to go with Wham Bam Dead Imran, which is what Charlie's suggestion.
How can you joke about
Quite
it?
like that.
Do you think
Thanks,
this really
Charlie.
happened? I'm kind of in denial now.
I don't. Look, we've known it's happening for a little while. We have known.
No, we haven't. No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
That he was going to die.
I mean, no, we didn't know he was going to die.
Don't make out that we knew that.
No, we absolutely didn't know that, but we predicted it a while ago. Well, let's come back to that in a minute. Let's talk about Monday, so then we can get to our predictions and then get back and everything. So we got 5 days of Coronation Street this week, 5 half-an hours. So we'll just we'll do a day each, and then we'll have a big old chat about it at the end. Let's get on with it. So the Wham Bam Dead Imran. Monday started with a flash forward, didn't it? Interesting decision, and I think maybe that was the first time Coronation Street has ever had a flash forward. Maybe it was. It set the tone for the week, because there was lots of time jumpy aroundy stuff, wasn't there, with all the flashbacks and the memories and everything. But what we got to see from that was a police car arriving at number 13, Kevin and Abby getting taken in, getting put into the police car. Imran's looking very flustered, running to a car. Leanne's getting some bad news on the phone while Nick is holding Alfie. Imran is confessing on the phone about, I've done everything wrong, mistakes, lies.
Fault.
It's all Alfie's fault, I blame him. Abby and Kevin getting questioned at the police station. More Imran saying, I never thought it'd be me in the dock. I never meant any of this to happen. I'm so sorry. So it gave us a nice little teaser about what we were to expect during the week. And then we go back to the present day, and Toyah is listening to Monday, Monday, which I always remember as being a song they sang on the first series of Pop Stars. It was one of the audition songs. I think Kim Marsh might have had to sing that one.
Maybe this
in
was
a
her
pre-Corrie
version.
days. Maybe it was. Maybe it was the hearsay version. I don't know.
It kind of had shades of the episode of Lost where she's listening to Downtown.
Yes.
And
everything's lovely. I was wondering whether they were going to have a different musical tune for every day of the week, but I think they gave up on that.
I don't know how many people have made songs about Tuesday.
I don't know. I'm sure,
it's a bit of a
some
boring
people could write
day
and
of the
tell
week,
us.
isn't it?
But anyway, she's picks up Alfie. Imran fetches the post there. Oh, there's a photo album. How lovely! That's what she's looking at the end of the week, isn't it?
Yes.
Forgot about that until I just read it. And that's
said
what they'd
to you
had.
today.
Did you?
Look,
I missed that.
You don't listen to a lot of what I say.
No. They're going to have a look through it later tonight, she says. So he says, look, are you absolutely sure about letting Abby have Alfie for the day? Because that's what we had arranged last week, wasn't it? Abby had decided that she was going to disappear off. She was going to emigrate to Costa Rica. But this feels like so long ago.
I don't think you can
just
emigrate
talking about it now
by sneaking in.
you know, whatever the word is.
She's going to be an illegal immigrant.
She is. She's going to be a total stowaway, isn't she? I can't believe this. This feels like so much has happened since then. Which partly because this was the only story this week, I suppose. Things move fast.
Well, yeah. No, we're only 5 episodes, half an hour.
Toyah says, "Look, we need to move forward with this. Letting Abby have Alfie for the day is the right thing to do. What could possibly go wrong?" I'm sure she said it as well.
What indeed?
So Abby, meanwhile, is meeting up with the visa man, doing the exchange, getting all her new bits of paperwork. Didn't really see the point of that. I thought that that would cause some sort of delay or something.
No, I don't know why.
She could have just got that last week, I'd have thought, plot-wise, but never mind. Leanne, meanwhile, is...
Well, okay, what? I don't know. I just wondered whether it's kind of like that's the reason why she didn't go straight away. She had to wait because she had to get the visa.
I suppose, yeah, maybe she could have done a scarp.
I don't listen to that woman.
Abby's not our friend anymore.
No.
Leanne is trying to make Toyah come along to her cousin's birthday party. I didn't know they had a cousin called Kirsty. And also, what happened to Toyah's birthday party? That's what I want to know. Toyah turned 40 at the weekend.
Yep.
And no mention of it was made. She didn't even have any birthday cards up in the flat. 40 years old.
I know. Maybe
no wonder she flipping crashed ran into that scaffold.
Yeah.
And I think that she had some lingering resentment about that, to be honest.
Can I just say, if I turned 40 and I can't imagine what that's like, then and I had finally achieved all of the things that I'd been striving for the last however long of my life, when she realised that what she really, really wanted was a baby.
I think she's known that for a while.
Well, I know
it's not some recent revelation.
Michael, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you carry on like this, I'm going to stop the car, drive it into a wall. Right? I think it wouldn't pass without me commenting upon it. Don't you think? Like I'd never thought on my 40th birthday I'd be here with a baby and another kid on the way with my husband.
Maybe Toyah is one of these people that doesn't want to be told about big memorable birthdays, or maybe she's got the Bill Roach secret and she's aging backwards.
Maybe she's like, oh, it's 38.
Maybe she's exactly. Maybe she's 38 now. Don't
need
to mention that,
because she doesn't age, does she?
I think that Toyah would welcome 40th gracefully, to be honest. But never mind. I'm sure she'll have a massive party for a 41st. Anyway, Leanne says, "Look, we need to go to our cousin's birthday party," and Toyah's like, "Well, I can't. We need to take Alfie with us, I suppose, but we can't because Abby's got him. We'll have him."
Toyah strikes me as the sort of person who might go to someone's party if they'd forgotten it was her birthday. Like, oh, here's your card. Your one to me must have got lost in the post because it was my birthday about 2 days ago.
Yeah. She would.
Maybe she'd hijack it. No,
she can be quite... Yeah, she can hold a grudge, Toyah. She can be a bit bitter, I think.
Well, who isn't?
Anyway.
I just want to say one thing about this week.
Say it.
Right? Abby has been like... And don't forget, everybody, I really like Abby.
Yeah.
Right? But
That's our disclaimer.
Listen,
Saint Abby.
Abby has been spending a lot of time like reacting violently to things, taking drugs, shouting at people, throwing stuff, crying, having meltdowns, etc., etc., etc. And this week, at one point, Toyah and Imran in the car, and he says something that she doesn't like. So she stops the car and says, "Get out! If you want to go a different way, just get out." And the way people react to Toyah doing that one, like, snitty middle class, like, get out and walk if you're going to give me directions for how to drive the car when it's me that's driving and you're drunk. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. The reaction to that compared to what Abby's been doing for, like, the past however many years she's in it.
I know. Anyway, so...
double standards.
They decide that they're going to go and see old cousin Kirsty. And
she sounds boring.
And maybe she's Kirsty. Tyrone's Kirsty. You know,
she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead, isn't she?
Maybe she's Kirsty.
Like Imran.
I don't know famous. Are there any famous Kirstys? Isn't there a Scottish presenter called Kirsty something?
They're basically gonna say, "Abby, sorry, you can't have Alfie today because we're going to take him. You can have him tomorrow if that's okay with you." Meanwhile, Abby is back at her flat at the bedsit, agonising over whether she should actually be going to Costa Rica, or maybe that's a bad idea. She says I just can't think of any other way of keeping my son other than moving halfway around the world. Maybe put a bit more thought into it, Abby, before we could come up with something.
Such a stupid plan. Sorry, Abby.
Corey's got a thing about sending people just on a whim to South America. First it was Roy last year. Now it's Abby. I think they got some kind of deal with the tourist board over there.
Could be, or it could be somebody on the writing team desperately wants to go to South America.
Just want to do a DVD spin-off special.
I need to do a recce just to see what it's like to be a mechanic there.
Kelly, meanwhile, is having a bit of a moan at Ben as he walks past the cafe, and Abby comes over and says, "Look, this guy, he's working for Imran now. You don't."
Who's having a moan at him? Sorry.
Kelly and Ben, they kind of cross paths in the street, and Kelly's not, she's not his biggest fan.
She's grinding her axe this week about. Does she know? I can't remember what she knows about Ben.
I think I can't remember what she knows either.
She's having.
She knows that he's a wrong un.
I don't like you, she says.
She knows that he's anti-Abby. It's Ben and Imran versus Abby and Twitter. So
it's so true. I'm just kind of it really kind of grates on me. I'm sorry. This really grates on me because Kelly was kicking. Sorry, but she was involved. Abby's kid to death. Not even a year ago.
It was a year ago.
All right, a year ago. And Abby's like, whatever, you can be on my side now because I don't care about anything except how much I hate Toyah.
Did give her a good old stalk around Christmas time.
I know, but she's totally over it, and everyone's forgotten it. It's like Saint Kelly.
Anyway,
sorry, Kelly, love you really.
So Kelly finds out that Ben's working for Imran, and then Abby gets a text message and says, "No flaming where." So this is the message from Toyah saying, "Sorry, you can't actually have him after all." That was a bit
of a dick thing to do.
It was a little bit. Up in the flat, Leanne's telling Toyah that Abby's just going to have to compromise.
Leanne's totally on Toyah's side. She's finally realised after the past 2 years of being an absolutely awful sister that she should actually have Toyah's back.
I liked Leanne this week.
I want to give her a hug. Yeah. I'm going to say,
as we sisters together this week. Nice one.
You're a horrible bitch, but it's for the right reasons.
She's telling Toyah Abby's just going to have to compromise. And then, speak of the devil, here comes Abby storming up to the flat, desperately trying to stay smiley because she's still trying to make Toyah and Imran think that she's totally cool with them and they're best of mates and everything. And she's like, are you sure I can't have Alfie now? I'd really, really like to have him today. That was the agreement, remember, Toyah? And Leanne's like, well, you just have to wait until tomorrow.
Leanne's like, shut up.
Smoke it. Abby, stick that in your syringe and inject it, Abby. Leanne says, look, wait till tomorrow. Abby's like, okay, fine. And that's all I'll have to wait for tomorrow. She's really struggling to maintain her composure as she leaves the flat because she really, really needs to get on that plane today because the ticket's got today's date on, basically.
Yeah, they don't accept plane tickets from other dates.
No. After the break, she's stropping around the garage.
But hang on, Can I just say, sorry to interrupt you again. I apologise. But the fact was...
I'll get you back later.
The fact was... that plane ticket was good for any day this week because their episodes were on every day, even though it was the same day for them.
Oh, yeah.
So it depends on where the airport was. If it was a fictional airport in Coronation Street, it would have been absolutely fine to do whatever day you wanted. Very
true. I think that today was canonically the 2nd of June because when we had that scene on yesterday's episode and we saw through this police station recording camera thing, it said 2nd of June on there.
Oh, because it was the first day of the Jubilee celebrations.
Yes, yeah, so much Jubilee in Coronation Street this week, wasn't there?
The Queen outlived Imran. We never saw that coming.
No, I wouldn't have put money on that one, I tell you.
And he didn't even get to see the red arrows.
No. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this. So she's going around the garage as Abby, having a big old moan to Kevin. She's very, very stressed. And Kevin says, look, we're just going to have to stop Toyah taking Alfie with her, won't we? I'll make sure that they don't go anywhere. So Kevin is now embroiled in this ridiculous plan for Abby to kidnap Alfie and take him halfway across the world because he's her son, not Imran's. Kelly goes to visit Imran, meanwhile, in the office, gets into another slanging match with Ben, which turns into a bit of an apology from her. It seems like she's trying to get some dirt on him or something.
She's going to get dirt on Ben.
On Ben, yeah, she is. But he's getting narc with all the questions. And then Imran comes up. That kind of doesn't go anywhere, that little thread. Imran comes up to Ben and sends him on his way. He's like... I can't remember what he said, get out, go away or something.
Yeah, he's really horrible.
And I think that's the last that we saw of Ben this week. Kelly says, look, Imran, you clearly don't like this guy, so why give him the job? We get to find out a bit more about that later. Toyah gets into the car with Alfie and Leanne. Mozart on full blast because it's good for a baby's developing brain, apparently.
This was such an absolute Toyah move, wasn't it? I just absolutely loved her so much for that moment of getting into the car like baby Mozart. Leanne's
1997
like,
Toyah would be shaking her head at 2022 Toyah at this moment.
And then Leanne's still a Battersby at heart because she's like, we just listened to Baby Shark with Ollie.
She turns the ignition, but the car doesn't start.
Oh.
What's going on here then? And then, how handy that local mechanic Kevin is right there, knocking on the door, saying, "Oh, you're having a bit of a trouble. I can fix it. I'm a mechanic, me. Just take a few hours. Why don't you give Abby a call while you wait too? She'll be made up. Maybe she can look after Alfie for a little bit." And he opens up the hood for a little... Well, I thought at the time he was going to do a little bit more sabotage because he pulls out of his pocket this, I don't know what it is, car part, little magic cube thing. And I didn't know whether he was putting it in the car, but I think that's just what he was supposed to have taken out of earlier. He was just showing it to the audience. Yeah. Look at this, everybody. I took this out the car earlier. I'm just going to have a look at it to remind myself that I took this out the car. Hope Toyah and Leanne don't see this because they might know that I did this. It's a bit silly.
80% of you will have no idea what this is, but take a good look at it anyway.
It's a car thing. It looked like one of those cube plugs that you can plug into the wall and stick like 3 other ones around the side.
I've taken out their USB port. They're not going anywhere.
I've been informed by reading on the internet that it's something to do with making the car start. Let's call it a spark plug. I'm sure it's not
a
that.
Let's call it a carburettor.
No, I don't know what it is.
Let's call it the window washing reservoir.
Yeah, you can't drive off without
that.
No, you
can't.
Sure.
No.
So, Kelly, meanwhile, is still squeezing Imran for details about Ben. She says, I know what happened. That man's a druggie. He's scum. Why did you employ him? Blah, 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 blah. So, Toyah phones Abby up and says, look, I'll come and find you. You can have Alfie for a bit if you like. Abby's is really chuffed with this. She's going to get that time with her son. She's there at the cafe. She thanks Roy for everything he's done for her. Toyah comes in, drops Alfie off with him. And then Abby's like, "Oh, Toyah, do you want to give him a squeeze goodbye?"
Oh.
Toyah's like, "Nah." He's probably just filled his nappy or something.
She's like, "You're trying to trick me." No, listen. This was quite poignant because this was Abby realising and having a bit of an attack of conscience.
Absolutely.
That she was taking this baby away and she knows that Toyah loves him. No matter what anybody thinks about her, whether Toyah should have him or not, you know her true and honest emotion or bond with him is like real, isn't it? So she feels guilty, so she says, say goodbye to him because she wants...
Toyah doesn't take the hint.
No, Toyah doesn't want to wake him up.
No,
she's a responsible parent, unlike Abby, who doesn't care.
No,
so horrible.
She just wants to take him. Kelly's still having a go at Imran in the office, saying what's gone on. He says, look, everything I've done has been for Alfie, and she's like, whatever. He says that I've tried to be a good person. He's feeling really guilty about this because he knows he lied in court. He thinks he had no choice. Is this the point where he tells her exactly what he did? I can't remember. I think at this point he confesses, and she's like disgusted with him, storms right off.
Anytime on a soap, you say, I've tried to be a good person, or everything I've done was for something, whatever, it means that you've screwed up.
Yeah, basically.
Nobody ever says that who's a good person.
So Kelly knows now, doesn't she? I've not written that in my notes, but I'm assuming she knows at this point. The days are blurring into each other at the moment. Then we got Abby's flat. Big final scene at the end of the episode. She's finalising all her plans with Kevin. So what's going to happen is he's going to drop her off at the airport. That's the last you'll see of him.
Are you sure? Because there is laundry here.
Yeah. Have you learnt how to wash them yet, Kev? Do you know?
No.
The powder goes in this drawer. The liquid in this drawer, you'll be fine.
You're not 100% sure how to use our washing machine.
I'm quite sure about it. I'm fairly sure. So he says, "Oh, Abby, I'm never going to stop loving you." He heads off to go and get the car. She pulls him in for a hug and he goes, "Oh, so tragic." She takes some family photos out of the drawer, stuffs them in her pocket.
Sorry, Michael, but you haven't put down, it was Charlie, Lexi and Seb's pictures.
Yes.
And she didn't even think of pecking those.
Yeah, I know. Just the last minute decision.
This reminds me of my other kids.
Yeah.
Oh, forgot about them.
These Websters in their pocket
Websters?
content. Yeah, Websters. Abby Webster, Kevin Webster. That's who we're talking about.
I know, but I don't
and their
feel
pocket
like
contents.
I don't feel like she's been a Webster long enough to have picked up inherited traits.
Maybe not.
Continue.
Anyway, there's a knock at the door, and it's Imran. He's all smiley. He's had this conversation with Kelly now, and he realises that he's, done a bit of a screw up. He's come to apologise for how he's been, and he says, "Look, Abby, you're Alfie's mum. 2 of us are going to be linked forever, so I just want to check that we're going to be okay. We mates, we friends." And he says he's going to stop being a big old ass. She's going to get regular visitation rights, whatever's best for Alfie. He's going to go along with it. And then he says, right, I'm just going to go and say goodbye to him. But then he clocks her suitcase, big red suitcase there on the floor. What's this for? And she says, oh, it's got Kevin's record collection in or something.
No, it's Kevin's underpants. Dirty underpants.
It's a big old case of Kevin's pants. And then he sees the passport, snatches it, opens it up, and it has got Alfie's photo inside. Dun, dun, dun.
It's not just that though, is it?
What?
It's got a fake name as well.
Oh yeah, it's got a fake name and everything. So, but Monday's episode ends, and he's just realised what is going on and what she's plotting and what she's planning. What's he going to do?
I'm a bit annoyed.
Why are you annoyed?
Because, really, Abby and Kevin should be in trouble for conspiracy to kidnap a child.
Well, they didn't do it. That's what they told the police people.
What did I say though?
They should be in trouble.
I said conspiracy to.
Yeah.
Well, planning a crime is also a crime, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've said that they didn't even plan a crime.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Sorry. They said I don't know what you're talking about when they were asked on Wednesday.
I'm so mad. I'm really, really mad.
Whatever it was. Right, that's what happened on Monday. Is this a good time for us to put our predictions in?
I thought you'd put them in.
No, we're putting them in now.
Oh.
Right, we're going to just leave it. We're going to just do a little flashback now, everybody, because apparently that's the in thing. This is what we thought on Monday night would happen for the rest of the week. It's about 13 minutes long, so if you don't want to listen to it, then do skip ahead. But I don't know, it might be kind of fun. But it's going to have a little bit of a breather while we put that on. So here are our predictions.
Okay, everyone, as a fun little bonus, we're going to tell you our predictions for this week based on
Monday night.
It's
Monday night now. We've just finished recording our Jubilee podcast, bonus podcast thingy for the week that I hope you've all listened to. And Gemma said, why don't we do a little predictions for the week?
Well, I was inspired by the fact that this week's episode began with a flash forward. Also, excellent concept for a TV show. Badly put together.
Yeah.
I thought I was inspired by that, and I thought what we should do is say, based on our knowledge, which is very limited, we will say what we think happens by the end of the week. So, what do you know?
What do I know about this? Very little.
What do you know?
What do I know? Well, I know that Charlie DeMello's left.
Yes.
How dare he? He's going to feel my
We know that
wrath.
happened.
We know that Imran is no more by the end of the week. We assume. I mean, he's going to die, isn't he? Basically, there's no reason.
That's the prediction.
There's no reason for Imran to just do a disappearing flit from Coronation Street without him dying, unless he gets inspired by Abby after today's episode and go, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do a runner as well.
I'm going to
Thanks
take
for the
this
passport. I'll have that.
I'll be the baby.
No, Imran's going to die. I've also seen 2 pictures of him and Toyah in a car crash together that were published.
In a car crash?
Yeah.
I saw them in a car.
Oh, well, I mean, I've seen them in a car crash.
Have you?
Yes.
I haven't.
What
are you
have
saying
seen?
it like that to me for?
What have
I
you
saw
seen
the picture of them in that article of them in the car when we were doing the advert, when we were looking at the advert, and you were clipping to walk between those two things. I mean, I think it's fairly obvious to me that there's gonna be a car crash.
Yeah. So you've seen them in the car when they were filming it back at Easter time.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 pictures of literally them with their heads smashed up against the steering wheel. Or
so the question is Alfie in the car? So this is my.
I don't know that. I literally know nothing else at this point.
So this is my prediction.
Predictions only.
That there's going to be a car chase. This was my prediction before today. And you're going to have to correct me if I say anything, because I definitely told you what my prediction was, and I can't remember what I specifically said now. But car chase, Abby and Alfie in one car, and maybe Imran and Toyah in another car. Abby's snatching the baby. There's just a big crash. and then Imran dies, and Toyah lives, but then she takes custody of Alfie, because she's the widow and she's married.
Yeah.
And Abby has been denied access by the courts before they even had this hearing about whether it should be Abby versus Imran. Did I say anything else?
No, I think that's basically what you said. We assume that Abby would try and do a runner, but I'm now left wondering after Monday's episode whether Imran's going to be the one that does a runner himself, because Monday's episode has ended with him just discovering Abby's passport.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, is he going to like duff Abby onto the ground or something and snatch the baby and do a runner himself? Although, like I said, I have seen him and Toyah in a car together. So is he going to snatch Alfie, go back to Kirsty's birthday party and say, sorry, love, can I have my wife, please? And then they're going to do a runner with Kevin and Abby in hot pursuit. It feels like it's maybe going that way, but I don't know. That Imran finding out about the passport was a bit of a curveball at the end of tonight's episode.
See, this seems to me like one of those things where Coronation Street knows what information is going to be released and they play against that, which I think is very smart. I don't know if this is what's actually the case.
No, I've not read any synopses for this week.
One of the things, we just talked about what I would do if I was producer. One of the things I would do if I was producer is to hook up the marketing / PR with the writing team, and I would say to them, I don't know if they do this, it doesn't feel like they do, maybe I'm wrong. I would say to them, I would have them both in the same room, and I would say, you come up with some concept that we can sell the story in a curveball-y kind of way. You come up with things that you can twist around this concept to keep people guessing and surprise them. Because I don't know whether that always happens.
Yeah, I don't know. So
now,
we have had the flash forward this week, haven't we? Which didn't actually show too much. I had Imran crying and doing a confession seemingly to Toyah, saying I've lied, I've done everything wrong, I didn't mean for this to happen. We've seen the police come and knock him for Kevin and Abby at number 13, taking them to the police station to arrest them. So I can only assume that maybe Imran dobs them in about the whole baby snatching thing.
Yeah.
We've seen Leanne getting some seemingly bad news over the phone whilst Nick is holding baby Alfie. So how did he get him? And I think they're in the bistro at that point.
Yeah. The other thing that we're assuming is that this week is all one day.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Now I think, and the other thing I'm going to say is that the car crash I thought was going to be some kind of police chase thing. A chase between Abby and Toyah and Imran. But now I'm thinking we've been introduced to this idea that Kevin's involved and he is sabotaging cars. Now, does he sabotage a car so that Imran ends up crashing and dying?
And then forgive him. Then
they are liable, and that's why the police are interviewing them.
I hope not. I mean, now, Kevin's really been dragged into this storyline in a fairly unrealistic manner, I would say. The fact that he seems so fine about helping Abby abscond is a bit silly, and to have him, hijack the car so that happens. But then, I don't know.
Hang on. So, I think this flash forward is supposed to make you think that Toyah's dead, because
she's not in it, is she? She's
not in it. It looks like Leanne's getting the news to say, sorry, Leanne is dead. Looks like Imran might be maybe leaving a message on her phone after she's dead to say, I'm sorry that I've done this. Like some people might write a note to somebody who's dead. Also, another alternative take on it is that Imran is leaving a suicide note on her phone. Because he's apologising for mistakes that he's made and lies that he's told.
I don't see Imran going down that route.
I don't see how that would help.
I mean, I suppose you said at the beginning of this, what do we know? We do know that Toyah's not dead, don't we? Unless Georgia Taylor has been leading us a very merry dance this past 2 months where I'm going into work, I've been so busy. So I don't think that that's going to be happening.
Well, I just want to point out that we don't really get told information from...
No, we don't. But we know that she's been going into work, or she's told us she has, and that's as far as it's gone. So What's this bad news that Leanne's getting over the phone? Was that just the news?
There's been a car crash.
Imran's been in a
But
car
why
crash.
aren't
So
they
Alfie's
there with
not
the kids? How do Leanne and Alfie's not in danger, but how do Leanne and Nick get the baby?
Yeah, a good question.
Maybe Abby escapes from Imran. Maybe Abby escapes from Imran after he discovers the passports. She leaves Alfie with him because she can't, she's scared of him. Because if I was Imran, I would be quite annoyed with Abby having discovered her plan to kidnap my son.
Yeah,
I might
quite peed off with
lunge at her, or maybe even give her a little tiny slap. So maybe she runs away from him, and she and Kevin try to escape to the airport to use the tickets because she's bought 2 plane tickets. Maybe she'll try to transfer one of them into Kevin's name, which I know is stupid because what about Jack? But it's the only reason I can think of as to why Imran might be like, Leanne, take this baby. I've got to go and stop Abby because she needs to come to justice. Although if I was Imran, I'd say, go to Costa Rica by yourself.
I can't figure it out. I can't join the dots here.
No, I know, it's intriguing, isn't it?
I hope it is interesting the way that they do it.
No, you said you didn't like Mondays, but I found it really interesting. I'm really into it.
It was a slow setup.
I don't think so.
Week.
I think I was really into it because especially the cliffhanger when Imran found those passports, I was like,
fun.
my, what will happen?
Are Kevin and Abby being arrested for
sabotaging the car that causes the crash? That's my prediction.
Do you? So I just took it to be that they're being arrested for conspiring to flee the country and kidnap a baby.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's a really good, interesting flashback, isn't it?
Yeah.
Flash forward.
Yeah. So Imran is going to tell the police about them. They're going to get arrested. Maybe while they're being arrested, Imran and Toyah take the opportunity to flee while they still can.
Why?
Just to get away from Abby. They're like, we're always going to have Abby. We're never going to be able to trust her. We're never going to be able to close our eyes because she'll come in and swipe the baby at any opportunity. Let's do a runner. And then they get halfway down the motorway and it's like, bloody hell, we forgot to bring the baby with us. We left her with Leanne.
Did you pet the baby? No, you said you were going to pet the baby.
Kevin!
Why are we playing Mozart then if the kid's not in the car?
I'm
going to put Taylor Swift on.
I can't figure it out.
No, it's very intriguing. All we know is that Imran is leaving a message for somebody, and it really just feels like it's Toyah. Unless
but when does that happen?
Unless it's a message for Alfie in the future.
No, I don't know. No, I think it's Toyah. But who?
But what's wrong? Does Toyah go to hospital?
Yeah, why isn't Toyah there? And when did this message take place? I mean, if he's leaving that message, and that was kind of the soundtrack that played over most of the trailer, it feels like he should be leaving that towards the end of the week, doesn't it?
Oh, I feel like today's flash forward comes from Friday's episode.
Yeah. So Imran
he must
is
be
in imminent danger, as you know.
So
death is lurking.
Okay, so that's
creeping
interesting.
Up on him.
Because what you're telling me is that Toyah and Imran are in a crash together.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, if that's why he dies, he recorded this message before that crash. Why is he leaving a message for Toyah if he's going to be in the car with her later to die in a car crash?
She's a very forgiving sort, is Toyah. I think we've learned that about her over the past few months. So he's going to leave his confession. I mean, if I think that maybe Abby says, well, you know what, I know that he's lied in court. Maybe Kelly does a little bit more digging with Ben, and the gig's up for Imran. Maybe the cops are after him. Maybe that's why there's a chase or something. And he hides and says, right, Toyah, I need to do a runner. I'm too pretty to go to prison.
Yeah.
And then maybe Toyah agrees to go on the lam with him. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. How do we get from where we are now to there?
I think we'll have to wait and see.
You guys know, because you're listening to this on after Friday's events. You know what happens. History can judge us. I just thought it'd be quite a fun little bonus bonus bit of the
well,
podcast.
they wanted us to put the pieces together, didn't they? That's why they had the flash forward to whet our appetites and make us think, oh, I wonder if it could be this or could it be that.
Yes.
I love
a bit of misdirection as well, as long as it's not dishonest and it's not like sometimes like films or TV programs will record something that's actually never happened and portray it as though it's the events from the future, and then they change it, and I think that's dishonest. But I don't think Coronation Street has done it in this case. I want to know whether Charlie D'Amelio gets paid extra for this clip that gets used twice.
Good point. I think the answer is no.
Probably not.
Right, shall we go so that these fine folk can listen to the actual episode of the podcast?
Yeah.
Let's move on. See you Friday, everybody. No, Saturday. Okay, we're back. It's Friday night again. How did we get on with those predictions, everybody? Maybe not completely right.
We didn't have time to listen to it, so
we
I don't know what I said.
We haven't re-listened to this. Well, maybe
absolutely perfect. Well done, Gemma.
Right.
10 out of 10.
I don't know. Anyway, that's what we thought was going to happen.
I don't know if I said this.
What?
But I'm pretty sure, and I can say this because it didn't happen, so it makes me look stupid. It's not like I'm saying I knew all along. This would definitely happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anyway, I was convinced that Imran would die on Friday.
Yes.
I did not think he would...
Came out of the blue, didn't it, on Wednesday?
I didn't think it would not.
I know. At least he got his final appearance on Friday anyway. But Gemma, over to you. You're up with Tuesday. Remind us what happened on Tuesday.
Well, Imran, happy, smiley, cooperative Imran, is a figment of everyone's imagination. Immediately turns into evil Imran again. Vengeful Imran, because he says, I can't believe you're planning this. Alfie is my son under my care. Give him to me at once. And she's just crying. She knows that that's it. She's lost him forever. Because honestly,
I would hope that she kind of knows in her heart that what she's doing isn't completely the right thing to do, and it is a bit of a silly decision. But she's desperate, isn't she? That's the thing. And desperate times call for desperate measures and all that. You would definitely kidnap our Abby, the cat. If I was like, you can't see her ever again, she's my cat now. Would you take her to Costa Rica though? I'd go to Fiji.
I want to see a little cat passport with Abby's little picture. Meow. All right, so she says, no. Meanwhile, Abby is hearing about Elsie.
No, Leanne is.
Sorry, Leanne is hearing about Elsie coming back because Toyah's telling her like everything's perfect, hooray!
Yeah, Toyah's plan was just to watch the Jubilee with Elsie this week, wasn't it?
What specific part exactly?
Well, didn't get.
That's why she was so upset today as well.
I was wondering whether we'd see Elsie today.
That's why she was so annoyed in the flat by herself, like crying, because she's like, well, that's ruined the Jubilee now as well. I was looking forward to
She's
watching.
A massive royalist, is Toyah.
What was it on Thursday? What did they do?
Thursday was the actual thing, wasn't it? It was what we were watching on the telly yesterday.
Yeah,
it was
but
the
what did they
marching
actually
and
do?
the flyover
It was Trooping the Colour.
Yeah.
Trooping the Colour. Then it was the Thanksgiving service today. Then tomorrow it's the Platinum Jubilee, what's it called, concert
in the rain.
And then on and then on Sunday we're having a parade in the rain.
Yes.
So she could have watched any of those things, but now she can't watch any of them because she's too sad and she can't see through her tears. Well done, everybody. I hope you're happy, Corrie scriptwriters. Bunch of bastards. Anyway, Abby's like, I did everything by the book. I deserve Alfie. I tried to tell the truth. What else was I supposed to do?
She's just talking about the fact that she didn't take drugs for those 3-4 weeks
I know.
when she was trying to prove that she was clean.
Yeah. Imran says, look, I really thought you were on drugs. Give me my kid back. And I can't bear to lose him again. A life without you is no life, she tells Alfie, and she walks out the flat, down the street.
That was odd. There was a little scene of her walking down.
Can I just say why I think they did that?
Well, no, let me interrupt you for a bit.
Yeah, go on then.
I was just going to say, I thought it was very odd her walking down the crowded street. It was like a busy shopping street, wasn't it? And it was about a 5-second scene, and I didn't really see the point of it. That's all. Back to you.
I was going to say, I can tell you why I think they did that.
Oh, go on then.
First of all, it's introducing the precinct to us, because that was definitely supposed to be the precinct.
Yeah.
And during the scenes, I'm fairly sure they piped in outside noise that I've never heard in Abby's flat before this week to make it sound like, oh, she's right above a bustling.
So bustling.
area, and there was a man walking through with his pajamas on, which I thought was very classic precinct behaviour. But I think
he's just in to watch the Queen, isn't he?
I've got to stop to put my trousers on.
Gonna get a big tub of ice cream and just watch the Queen all weekend.
The reason I think they put this in is because Abby was tested again, right? But this time, even though she'd lost Alfie, she didn't go and score. I think that's a very significant character development for Abby. And that's good news for the future of Alfie in her care.
Well, yeah, if she ends up back with him again.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that was maybe the point. I don't know, because that's classic, old school Abby, isn't it? Run off, take some drugs because you're sad. So,
but maybe she did, and we'll have a flashback to it. Now they've introduced the medium to Coronation Street.
God, can you imagine the havoc they would play with storylines if they just flashed back and forward all of the time? Oh my God.
It's Ian McLeod's new thing, isn't it? It's like, that thing with Nina last year with the flashback was amazing, and they do it all the time now just to confuse people. Be arty.
What I think they should do is just flash back now, only back to when Imran was alive. Never forwards, only back.
Yeah.
So Kevin comes up to the flat, and Imran realises he's in on it too, because I can't remember what Kevin does, but in my mind now, looking back, he's like coming in and go, "Quick, Abby, the plane to Costa Rica is about to take off. They can't hang around. They've got a load of smack." Actually, why would you take drugs to Costa Rica? I'm not sure, but he also realises that Kevin's the one who sabotaged the car. I don't know who says "I feel sorry for you," but one of them does.
I don't know.
Kevin says he still loves Abby, and he doesn't think Toyah would be with Imran if she knew what he had done in court. And then he's like, "You're horrible." They didn't like this either. Kevin was lecturing Imran about what a horrible man he's done, as though he was not just conspiring to kidnap Imran's son.
I don't get Kevin this week. Like, he's a decent chap. I know that he's a bit handy with his fists sometimes, and he's made questionable decisions in the past. But I think as like the older, wiser, more mature character in this storyline, he was coming across as like
a bit of a lunatic.
Yeah, it really, really was. This woman who he loves, he's just aiding and abetting in her absconsion from the country.
Well, it doesn't, yeah,
honestly. And then later in the week he lies
idea.
to the police. I really, really hope that some of what Abby and Kevin have done this week comes around and bites them in the bum.
That's what I'm going to say as well. Sorry, but if everybody's on their high horse, like complaining about how awful Imran is because he did one bad thing, I'd like them to explain to me what's so good about kidnapping children from their other parent.
I know.
And I still stand behind the fact that if a dad wants to be involved in their kid's life, I don't understand how anybody can say that they shouldn't be. It's crazy to me. I feel really... I've heard so many things, and I know it's to be true. I understand intellectually it's true, that people are biased towards women, and they're very against men, especially in custody situations. But this really has brought home to me how, like, viscerally people believe the mother should have custody of the child, even though she's demonstrated many times
time again
to be
how completely
terrible.
unsuitable she is.
And I am a feminist and I want to support and uphold women, but if you're asking me to pick between a woman who's a drug addict and a man who is a solicitor and also a porky pie teller.
Just a little bit of perjury.
And also, can I just add in too, how many of us assume that lawyers always tell the truth in court?
I know. In today's episode when Toyah was going, I can't believe when she was getting mad at him in the car. I can't believe you lied in court.
I thought that was like just what we thought was their modus operandi. That's just how they are. Anyway, Imran says, he listens to Kevin, giving him this like self-righteous ranting,
lecture.
Telling off, exactly, and he like sneers at him and he says, "I'm taking Alfie home, you can't stop me." So he goes back to the flat. Leanne's there. He says, "Can you please give me a moment?" So Leanne has to leave, and he tells Toyah what's happened, that Abby and Kevin were trying to kidnap Alfie and take him to Costa Rica. She's like, "I can't believe that's stupid."
Is this Britain's Got Talent week or something?
She's
looks
like,
at the calendar.
Oh my God, let's not leave the house. Actually, no, something might fall on the house and kill us. What should we do? I don't know. Where's safest? We can't even go underground because we might drown in a hole like Johnny. What should we do? she thinks she's stupid for trusting Abby and Kevin, because she's been the one that's been forcing Imran to get out of his comfort zone and let Abby into Alfie's life more. She's like, let's phone the police. And Imran says, don't do that. And she says, give me one good reason why. Or something like this. Kevin is looking for Abby around Victoria Gardens. And back to Toyah, who's very suspicious. She's like, why? And he says, look, she's at her lowest point already. This would ruin her. We can't do it to her. We have to... He's starting to blame himself. He's looked at Twitter and he's gone, whoa. Oh, okay. It sounds like I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, just trying to backpedal a bit.
Well, yeah, this was like the last minute redemption for trying to rehabilitate Imran's character to make people feel worse when he actually dies, you know? So, Kevin phones Imran, and then Imran runs off telling Toyah to take Alfie to the bistro. And then Imran finds Kevin outside and says, look, I haven't told the police, I'm not going to tell the police, but I'm not going to tell anybody that I lied in court. And Kevin says, what was really going on in that photo with Dean? What kind of father are you setting that example? And Imran's like, okay, right, I'll phone...
Kevin doesn't say that. Kevin tells him, and I didn't know whether... I kind of didn't think that... I don't know what I'm saying. I thought that Imran might have known that already, but this is when he tells him that photo that Ben took of Abby and Dean was her... I've forgotten what it even was now. The one where there was the supposed drug exchange, but it was just
her
Abby
giving him money.
Yeah, that's it. It was
because he said he just got out of prison and he wants to buy a sausage.
That's it. Yeah,
and there's £17.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, right, you're right. I'm gonna rearrange custody. I'm gonna call Elliot. I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna make this okay. I'm really sorry. And he gives the passports back to Kevin and says, look, this shows you can trust me. And Kevin says, phone Abby now because she's going to do something stupid. It goes straight to voicemail and he leaves her a message saying, I'm going to put things right, come back, we'll work it all out. Now, where's this voicemail? This voicemail going to become important at some point?
Probably deleted it.
So he's giving the passports back, so they're probably destroyed now.
I don't know. Because just before they get arrested, I thought Kevin and Abby were kind of flaunting them about a bit, but they clearly didn't find them when the police showed up later in the week.
There's a lot of talk about Abby doing something stupid, and it's sort of implied that perhaps it might be suicide or maybe drugs or maybe like deliberate overdosing or something. But it really... everybody knows, everybody's talking about Abby as though she's incredibly unstable, and we know that she is. And again, to me...
But the best mum for Alfie.
This is what the alarm bells are going off in my head going, if she's that unstable, and I know that lots of people are listening to this who are parents, and they would probably say that they would go crazy if somebody took their kid from them. But I don't think that you would go to the levels that they expect Abby to go to, you know? There are... it just seems like the whole thing is just like your child is not your... No child should be brought into this world or given to somebody because they have poor mental health.
Yeah.
Does that not scream bad idea to other people, or is it just me? Yes, anyway, I don't want to upset people, but I just don't think that's the correct response. Toyah shows up at the bistro and tells, especially because this is fictional, don't forget this is all fictional. Toyah shows up at the bistro and tells Leanne, Adam and Nick about what's happened. And Leanne's like, what is Imran even doing at Abby's? And then Toyah's like, oh, actually, that's a good question. I don't even know. Maybe he suspected and I don't know why he's not reporting Abby. And she starts getting quite suspicious and she says, if he's been lying again, I'm going to kill him. Dun, dun, dun.
You say what you like about Toyah, but she follows through on her threats, doesn't she?
You know what? Yeah, I admire her for that. She leaves Alfie with them, and she heads out. Kevin is still looking for Abby. He goes to the dog and gun. There's a shifty bloke. It's probably the dog and gun, I don't know. There's a shifty bloke there.
I think it was the dog and gun.
This is the guy who gave Abby the...
Yes, it was the visa man. Yeah.
What a coincidence. Kevin
I
starts...
know, it's really handy. He turns up there and he's just there.
Kevin's like, what's going on? Tell me where she is. Starts roughing him up. And he's like, look, I'm the visa man. I'm not the drugs man. You need somebody else if you're looking for Abby now. I've given her the visas. Pushes him against the wall, and Kevin says, you can either get arrested...
for beating me up, or you can talk to me. Which is a really
what a
weird...
threat.
Yeah.
Imran leaves a message
threat
for Elliot saying, look, there are a few things that perhaps I said or did that maybe not 100% really real or happened. Toyah calls Imran, says, I'm going to go to the police station, I'm going to take a taxi. Finally realised, look down the road.
Where was the taxi on Monday night when your car stopped working and you wanted to get to that birthday party?
Obviously don't care that much about cousin Kirsty. She's there at the party. This is what I want to point out. This has ruined Kirsty's birthday.
Yes, it has. She's always going to remember.
She's there at the party, and then somebody phones her up, and it's exactly like that scene in Austin Powers where everyone's at the pub and Smitty gets run over by the steamroller, and then Rob Lowe, is it? He's like, to Smitty, and everyone has to like toast to the...
I think the saddest part in all of this is Kirsty's probably saying, I had to get a whole load of bloody vegetarian food. Nobody's eting this. I've got a whole table of this veggie lasagna. What are we going to do with it now? Because I'm not eating it.
Does anyone want any Vegemite sandwiches?
Got a whole load of carrot sticks and hummus or whatever.
And then later on, everybody, when they find out that Toyah's been in a car crash and her husband dies, everyone looks at Kirsty like, you absolute bitch. She's like, sorry, I didn't know. How am I supposed to know? So, Imran is rushing after Toyah to stop her from reporting, but it's too late, she's already gone. And Kelly's there, being mean to him, because she's also seen to it and she's like, I know how to get my character up the ratings again. I'm going to be mean to Imran because everyone hates him. And then he says they tried to kidnap Alfie, and she's like, oh, okay, maybe Alfie is crazy because she's been on Abby's side this whole time, hasn't she?
Well, he also says he's going to tell the truth now, isn't he?
He's like, look, I'm going to come clean. I'm going to make everything right. I feel terrible. And Kelly's like, wow, that's really good. And they kind of like have this very like, feels like the end of a
yes,
you know, goodbye. I've done my best. And Kelly kind of like,
I've made my peace with you.
Gives him the salute, like the angel of Weatherfield smiles upon you now. So he's got Saint Kelly's blessing, and now he can die happy.
Yeah.
He rushes to the garage where his car's just outside, and he jumps in and it starts, and he's like, great, the car's been fixed. So he leaves another message for Toyah saying, don't talk to the police, you don't know the whole story. And then the flash forward speech.
This is the whole... I think we heard more of it in the flash forward. I think we just heard bits of it as the week went on, but it was basically saying, I've done everything wrong, I've made so many mistakes, what am I going to do?
Kevin, so that's so sad. At the beginning of the week, though, when we saw Imran's flash forward, there was I don't think there was any question who he was on the phone to, which I don't know if Coronation Street wanted us to be like, ooh, how mysterious.
Who's he talking to?
Yeah, because I thought it was obvious he's talking to Toyah. The only other person he could have been talking to is Alfie, like leaving a message. I don't think
Alfie's got a mobile.
Yeah, but leaving a message like Sinead.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, if only Imran had more time before he died, he could have done a load of videos, and we could have 10 years of little Imran videos going, here's how to tie a tie, Alfie. Oh, he's never going to be able to teach his son how to tie a tie. Are you happy, Twitter? I hope you are. Anyway, Kevin tells this man, I know you know where Abby is, and he wears down and says, look, I did help her with the passports, but I don't know where she is at the moment. These people who like lurk around in pubs to get accosted by main characters Coronation Street. It's like, look, I'm not responsible for everything she ever does because I sold her some dodgy passports. Imran turns up at the police station. Toyah's there, and she's sitting in the waiting room, ready, and she hasn't heard the message yet. And she gets called in, and Imran's like, don't go in there. You have to listen to me. You can't report this. And the man behind the counter's like, come on then. Do you want to tell me a crime or not? So she says no, but she smells Imran's been drinking and takes the keys from him.
Yeah, earlier on when he was in the flat, he had a little glass of whiskey.
I totally missed that.
I totally missed that, but thank you very much, Alison Sinclair, who
She's
pointed
like,
that out to us on
dumb
Twitter.
idiots. Aren't you watching this programme?
I did rewatch it the next day, and I was like, oh yes, it was kind of obvious, long, extended drink of whiskey. It's because most of the time when it's on, I'm there typing away on the laptop, and you're typing away at tweets.
I'm like, making stupid, putting gifs, finding the perfect gif. Meanwhile, Kev is ringing around the hospitals because he thinks the worst has happened, but Abby comes in and they have a hug, and she says, I'm sorry, I just wanted to clear my head, and good on you, Abby, well done. This is the very important character test that you've passed to prove Imran wrong, doesn't it? Just to put the boot in. He says, Imran's not going to the police, everything's going to be alright. Hooray! Turn off the telly, nothing else happens, everything is fine, everyone's alive. Leanne and Nick are in the bistro like, where are they? Where's everyone gone? Why do we have a baby? I don't even want it. Maybe Leanne's starting to think, I could just take this one.
Yeah, pass the baby.
The phone's ringing, they're trying to get hold of Toyah, they can't, because Toyah and Imran have had a little crash.
Yeah, the final scene on Tuesday, them there crashed into a wall.
Yes.
How did it happen? And then this is when the internet all erupts saying, oh, how cheap, they didn't show the crash, didn't show it happening.
Well, I will say it was just a little crash, wasn't it?
It was.
It wasn't like an epic stunt. That's the trouble. I think that people will criticise this week because there wasn't a big stunt.
I mean, it was a decent sized stunt, but it wasn't,
Well, the thing is, the competition is, the factory catching on fire.
Yeah, there have been bigger stunts on Britain's Got Talent week.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was our cliffhanger on Wednesday. I thought they did a good job with cliffhangers, particularly at the beginning of the week, because Monday's one where Imran finds the passport.
Yes,
so that
really
was
didn't
brilliant.
expect that to
I didn't expect
escalate.
that to happen,
Yeah.
no. And then this one, it was just, we knew that there was going to be a crash. We'd seen some pictures of it, hadn't we? But just to have it dropped on us.
No, we saw the trailer.
Yeah, no, but I
haven't seen the picture.
I had seen a picture.
You
of them
make out
in a
that we don't share the same eyes.
But yeah, had to have it just dropped on us like that was quite nice, unexpected end to Tuesday's episode.
Just like the
Wednesday though is when it's all going down. So Imran wakes up. He's there in the passenger seat. There's scaffolding teetering precariously over them in the car. A brick lands on the windscreen, kind of makes a crackle down it. His door won't open because there's scaffolding there. And he was being fairly dangerous, wasn't he?
Right.
He was opening his door and really wiggling to try and get out.
I just want to point out, sorry to interrupt you, that a lot of people are complaining on the internet and saying, oh, he was being stupid and he was wiggling things around and it's probably his fault and he brought it all down on them and everything. And if I was in a car and I was in a car crash, I wouldn't try to open that door because I'd know that I would, no, you wouldn't. It's not a plot hole when people do stupid things, especially in a situation like this where,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't think he would have necessarily had time to
don't think it's fair
weigh
to
up all of the
criticise.
options. There was literally, he was about to get flattened.
Well, yeah, and he didn't know that. He had no idea to know. Like, if you're in a car crash, the first thing you do is try and get out of the car.
Yeah. So anyway, he phones 999 first, doesn't he? He says what's happened, where they are. He can't wake Toyah up. He he's panicking. He says the whole building's about to come down on top of us. Meanwhile, Kevin is with Abby at number 13. She wants Alfie to have the necklace or whatever it was that Seb gave her for the wedding. Oh my gosh,
You need to go and...
You go get me some water. I'm going to carry on talking about what's happening. So she says, look, can you give him this necklace? She's also absolutely terrified about what Imran's doing now. She's toast, she thinks. Kevin says, look, don't worry, Imran's not going to report you. Here's the passports, I've got them. Imran's got no evidence that we were going to do it. She is still not convinced though, and is sure that she's going to prison at this point. Kevin says, no, don't worry, I want you in my life forever. You're going to stay here with me, all fine. Meanwhile, cut to Officer Craigie, because on to this episode we had an awful lot of people who are kind of a little bit related to Imran, either hearing about the news or being involved in it. And this one is Craig, his ex-flatmate and running partner, remember, getting the call about the accident. He's like, brilliant, an actual proper incident for me to turn up to, fantastic. So, back to Imran. He's trying to force himself out of the car. He gets out, scaffolding kind of tips a little bit, then it crashes down onto the car. I know it doesn't yet because he has to pull Toyah out of the door. He gets Toyah, grabs her, pulls her out just in time as a pile of bricks crashes down onto the driver's side. He kind of hugging her down on the floor, telling her that she's the best thing that's ever happened to him. I know I've let you down, Toyah. I'm so sorry. I'm going to make it up to you. But for now, they're safe and everything's okay. So then we have another cut back to Kevin and Abby. She says, "Oh, yeah, fine, it's going to be okay." Going in for a bit of a kiss with him. But then we cut back to the aftermath of it. So Craig is with Imran and Toyah. He's on his radio reporting back to base. Toyah's on a stretcher at this point. Somebody's saying something about her maybe having internal bleeding. I don't know whether that goes anywhere. Toyah wakes up and she's like going, "Oh, Imran, everything's all blurry and there's echoey paramedics and everything." The paramedics there telling Toyah that she's been in an accident. Imran's saying, "Oh, Toyah, I love you. Everything's going to be okay." He's saying, "I want to come into the ambulance." And then he just kind of collapses and Toyah blacks out. You saw it, didn't you? I kind of missed the collapse the first time, but you saw it, didn't you? It kind of came out of nowhere a bit, yeah?
Yeah, he just fell down.
It was a bit of a surprise, that one. Over at the bistro, meanwhile, Nick and Leanne are really, really fretting at this point. They don't know what's going on. They can't get hold of Toyah, but then they get a call from Toyah's phone and Leanne's jaw drops. This was something that was in the flashback. No, sorry, the flash forward on Monday's episode, and it was the news about what's happened to Toyah and Imran. Meanwhile, Imran's there getting some fairly weedy chest compressions, I have to say, from the paramedic, but it's not doing any good. It's been 15 minutes, and it looks like they've given up. Poor old Imran, dead. Tragic. Oh. Leanne arrives at the hospital and is told that Toyah's in resus. They're doing everything they can. Abby gets a phone call from Elliot, and she's kind of surprised to hear that Imran has confessed all to him. So she's like, "Oh, perhaps I'm all right to go and give him this necklace myself after all." Doctor comes and tells Leanne that Toyah's okay, but there's something else she needs to know. And I think this was the moment when everybody realised Imran's definitely dead. We didn't get to see Leanne being told, but then when we next cuts to Leanne and the doctor coming into the room with Toyah, they have to tell her that Imran's bought it. Sad times. Abby and Kevin, meanwhile, are turning up at the bistro. Nick has to tell them about the accident. He doesn't know how they are. Leanne's at the hospital. Abby says to Kevin, "The car." And Kevin swears it was fixed. So Abby, thinking that, Kevin interfered with this car earlier on today, is it his fault that the accident happened? And Nick says, "Look, if you want, you can have some time with Alfie." Leanne's in the waiting room. Craig comes over. He wants to go and see Toyah, and he's like, "Does she know about Imran?" He says, "Look, can you just tell Toyah that Imran wasn't alone when he died? He was there. Wouldn't you like? Don't you? Isn't that what you want as you're lying there dying, to have Officer Craigie there, looking over you?"
I don't think even out of Weatherfield Police that he would be my first choice.
I'd want like McKinnon maybe being there looking down on me.
Like, you did this to yourself.
He also fills Leanne in on what he knows about the accident. Imran dragging Toyah to safety is like, "Oh, he was a hero. He saved your life." A police officer arrives to speak to Toyah, though. He needs to know about what happened when the accident took place. And Leanne tries to stop him, but no good. He marches right in there. Meanwhile, Abby is as happy as Larry with Alfie and Kevin in the bistro. Kevin is still like little bit concerned about the accident, but he swears he only tampered with the ignition, with the little ignition box thingy that he took out of it. But he sorted it. There was nothing wrong with the car. Toyah, meanwhile, is having some flashbacks as she's trying to remember the events that led up to the crash. They were driving home from the police station. She says to the police officer there, "Look, I'd rather not say what I'd planned to report at the police station. It's a personal matter." But she doesn't remember anything about hitting the scaffolding at this point, just waking up in the ambulance. She remembers Imran wanting to come into the hospital with her, and then he just collapsed. And the officer's like, "Why would you have just driven straight on? There's a curve where you were found, but there was no signs of any skid marks or anything like that." And she's like, I don't know why this happened. why wouldn't the brakes have worked? So Leanne takes the opportunity to pipe right up and say, well, I think you maybe asked Kevin about that. He was the one that was tampering with the brakes earlier, and Abby. She's absolutely convinced that Kevin is the one to blame for the accident at this point. So the end of Wednesday's episode is there's a knock at number 13. The cops from the flash forward are there to take Abby and Kevin down to the station. They tell them about Imran dying at the scene, and they are in big trouble if they're anything to do with this car having some faults with it. Gemma, back to you for Thursday.
On Thursday, the Websters are led into the police cars. Leanne is still with Toyah in the hospital, and she's remembering childhood memories about Leanne having a doll for Christmas one year, and Toyah had a pram. Bit tragic.
Symbolic.
She asked for Alfie to be brought to her, and she's already given up on being able to keep him and Elsie, so she just wants to spend as much time as she can with him while she's able to. Very sad. It
really, really is. And I'm still wondering at this point, who's going to get Alfie at the end of this. It seems like it's a bit of a fait accompli that it's going to be Abby, but I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like Abby will end up with him.
It certainly feels like the way it's been written, we should want Abby to have him. And to be honest, if Toyah does end up having him, I don't think that Abby would stop. She wouldn't rest until she got him herself. So maybe it's for the best. But poor bloody Toyah.
Kelly goes to see Nick on the street, asking if he knows where Imran and Toyah are, and the show has Nick breaking to Kelly that Imran has died, and she's like, but I just spoke to him.
At least you made your peace with him, Kelly.
I know, there are definitely, she had a nicer last words to him than it seems Toyah did at the moment.
Definitely.
I hate you, Imran. I want to drive you into a wall. That's probably what she said. So Abby's in the interview room, and they're like, let's give dramatic lighting. The camera's swinging around, and we're seeing Abby and Kevin being interviewed in different rooms. Kevin's telling the detective that he worked on Toyah's car, and the detectives are trying to pretend to be stupid, but he actually knows about cars, which
I watched Top Gear, actually.
He's like, I know, I'm the only one police officer who knows about cars. We all have one area of expertise. He's like, how come you were taking it to the garage? Why couldn't you fix it at the roadside? And he's like, oh, I needed a special device, an OBT scanner. And the detective's like, well, I don't really know what that is, but it's a handheld device, and every mechanic has one in their kit. I don't buy this story. I think you're lying. And he's like, oh no. To be fair to him, who could have predicted Weatherfield Police would be competent about anything?
That's
let alone
true.
Such a outside the topic of car mechanics.
Yeah.
That's probably why they recruit lots of different sorts of people. Kelly comes into the Rovers. She's upset.
I still don't know why they gave Craig the job, though.
He's
been a police officer for quite a few years now. They're still trying to find what he's the expert on.
Excuse me, everybody. We've been looking for a long time for somebody who knows about rats, and we finally found the perfect man. Then we have Kelly. Now, she's the one who gets to break the news to everybody else. She comes into the Rovers. She's very upset. We've got lots of people who know Imran or have something to do with Imran.
It's just a very coincidentally
together.
Handy group of people, isn't there? Imran's
Imran's fan clubs having their weekly meeting. Don't tell Imran.
How often do Alia and Yasmin just pop down the Rovers for a quick drink?
Not very often.
Yeah, so they had them there. They also had Maria and Gary there. Literally an empty pub apart from those people.
Who was behind the bar?
Was it Sean? Sean was very sad that Imran's died.
I just want to say, I watched the tram crash episode again recently, and if you're a patron, you'll know that I did that. And Sean was actually, Sean was in the Rovers, and he was actually really good. He was helping everybody and telling people, go and get me some hot water. We need to get bandages in here.
Oh,
it was very good. So there you go. He's not all bad. So she lets everybody know, and they all react in various ways, like how sad that is, etc., etc.
But he was so handsome. How can he die?
Handsome people don't die. That doesn't make any sense. Camera swinging time for Abby now, back in the police station, and they're asking her to describe her relationship with Mr. Habeeb, and she's like, I don't know, it's alright, I suppose. And they're like, but didn't he accuse you of being on drugs? Isn't that a bit awkward for you? Meanwhile, Kevin's telling the police officer about the work he did on the car, and he's like, I didn't touch the brakes, it wasn't me. Don't say that I did anything, because I didn't. And aren't they talking about, like, is this when they talk about they're like, the car didn't brake, so we think you tampered with the brakes, because they just ran straight into that wall. Yeah. And then the cop's like, but you know, women drivers. And Kevin's like, yeah. So he's like, I didn't touch the brakes, it wasn't anything to do with me. Then we have Abby saying, last time I saw Imran today was earlier at my flat, which is true. Kevin saying, I didn't have any didn't need any parts, just needed labour. I didn't give him a bill. I was doing it as a favour. And the business was like, a favour, even though he shagged your wife and gave her a kid. Now you've been arguing about it this whole time. It sounds a bit suspicious and like a lie to me, actually. And Kevin's still denying that he sabotaged the car. And Abby's now...
They're just lying their way through this interview, aren't they?
Now, if people are mad at Imran for lying in court about Abby, I hope that they would also be mad about Abby and Kevin telling a few porkers in here about what they got up to.
It's not perjury if you're like at the police station, is it? But what if this
I would say it's sensible.
if this had got to court, would they have stood up and lied on the, there and then...
Well, listen, I am just really teasing people, because I know when it's your favourite character, or you sympathise. This is the thing, though. This is how dangerous human minds are, and bear this in mind as you're listening and you're making your own decisions. There's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but this is what we do as human beings. We ignore the stuff when we make a decision, we ignore the information that is detrimental to that point of view, and we only listen to the evidence that proves us right. So everybody listening who's on Abby's side is going, oh well, whatever, doesn't matter.
She just needs her kid.
She needs to. She has to keep the lie up because blah blah blah. That's just what we're like, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it.
It's fine. We do the same. We do the same thing. But like I say, I'm a bit kind of conflicted here, because I still kind of like Abby, and I don't want this...
I totally like Abby. I'm massively conflicted and confused, and I don't know what to think this week. I want everybody to just be happy. And
I know. If Imran and Toyah were not involved in the storyline, I'd be 100% on Abby's side. Going, don't tell the cops.
That's a really good
I hope
point,
she gets away with it.
If it was another couple, if this was Gary and Maria,
who
this was happening
like,
to, I'd totally be on Abby and Kevin's side.
No,
so it's just all...
I would prefer Maria to die. Carry on. Carry on, sorry.
It's your turn.
No, you were saying something.
Oh, no, it just goes to show how fickle you can be, and how your favourite character can completely blind you to any kind of reason or whatever. We just happen to be in a situation now where it's all our favourite characters that are at each other's throats.
Yeah, I'd definitely be like rooting for Abby and Kevin to worm their way out of this one. But as it is, I'm like, how dare you? I would never expect such abhorrent behaviour from anybody. So, this is when Abby gets told that the brakes may have been disabled, and they're saying... she's like really shocked about this, because she had nothing to do with the car stuff. It was all Kevin. And the cop says the car's so damaged we might never be able to... Now he says it a different way than you would expect him to say. He's trying to force a confession out of Kevin. So he says, the car's so damaged we may never be able to prove that you didn't tamper with the brakes. So basically he's trying to... But actually it's the other way around, isn't it? You can't actually prove whether the brakes were tampered with or not. So... But I thought that was a really sneaky tactic.
I love these interview scenes on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. No,
very
Thursday
clever script. I thought that just that little bit where the policeman's trying to kind of what's the word, twist the facts to put pressure on the perps. And Kevin's like, oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Kelly goes to see Toyah and Alfie, and she can't remember.
Toyah still can't remember what
happened, but she says the police might have messed with the brake. The police might have messed with the brakes. Like, come on, lads, it's boring around here. I can't be bothered to sit in all weekend watching the bloody Queen. Let's tumble with some brakes and cause an accident. Let's have some work to do. No, the police think someone might have messed with the brakes, and Leanne is like, well, Abby's a drug addict, like, out of nowhere. And Kelly said, she wasn't on drugs. Didn't Imran tell you guys what happened? He lied in court. He was going to confess everything. And Toya's like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean he lied in court? And Leanne says, shut up, Kelly. You're making things worse. And Toyah says, I need to know. No, she needed to tell me the truth. I need to find out what actually happened to her. Because she doesn't have any idea any of this happened.
No, she's got very handy, convenient soap amnesia, hasn't she, at this point?
Yeah. Kelly's in the police station later and she's telling them about Imran's confession to her. And she also says Toyah didn't know about it. And what made him stop confessing? I don't know where that comes into it. And she says, can you please let Abby go now? Because it wasn't her fault. Toyah...
Yeah. Kelly's saying, look, he was going to confess. Why didn't he confess? Why didn't he own up to lying in court? So it's all a bit mysterious.
Toyah's talking to Alfie. Oh, this was so sad.
This is a great scene. This is my scene of the week, possibly.
This was so absolutely tragic and heartbreaking, really. Toya's talking to Alfie. She's got him in her arms, and she says, I wanted to be the best mum in the whole world because you deserve it. I don't want to lose you. I wanted you to grow up with me and your dad. And she talks about what their life would have been like together and all the adventures that they would have had. And she promises she'll never forget him. And she promises that she'll never forget Imran. And she starts talking about his beautiful eyes, but she doesn't mention the eyelashes, which I thought was a weird omission. She's telling it like, I'm going to tell you he's brilliant. He used to make me laugh, so I have tears running down my cheeks. And I don't believe that for a minute. I think that Toyah and I really like Toyah and Imran, but they seem to strike me as the sort of people that don't have a sense of humour, really.
I know.
Like, I can imagine them just laughing at, like, somebody getting the answer wrong in University Challenge, and that's about like he said it was Mozart, but it was Beethoven. Anyway, she's crying. Her tears are streaming down her face, and then she says, "And now he's gone," and it's like she's fine. Like it sinks in, and it's really well observed the way poignant. That at different points throughout the week. The kind of realisation hits her again and again in different ways, and this is what happens when someone dies, isn't it? You different things will remind you in a different, unique way that this person you'll never see them again. And
I think we're sort of saying it out loud there because I was waiting for this scene because she found out. Was it? Yeah, it was the previous episode. She found out that Imran was dead, didn't she? And there was just shock. Up until this particular scene, she wasn't crying particularly. She was just kind of coming to terms with it. And I was thinking, I hope that they get Georgia Taylor to squeeze out a few tears over this one. I want to see her really properly blubbing about this. And this scene absolutely delivered there. She was brilliant. She had the whole wobbly bottom lip thing. She was absolutely superb. Panda eyes. Oh. I loved it. She was just, what a performance that was. So heartbreaking.
It really is sad.
And it was us sort of grieving and mourning Imran as well, wasn't it? As viewers, I'm sure that there were a lot of viewers going, "Hooray, he's dead!" The evil.
Lots of people were very vindictively pleased that he was dead.
But how quick the tables turn, because there's only been a few months maybe that people have not really enjoyed Imran.
I know. Oh man, it's really hard, like because everybody comes to their own opinions and it's a process, and you feel very emotionally attached to them. So when somebody has a different opinion to you, like, you're attacking me as a person, like, I can't believe that you don't agree with me about something. And it's silly how attached we get, isn't it?
Yeah.
Abby's let free because the vehicle reports come back and there's no brake tampering and there's no evidence that she was going to kidnap Alfie. So Kevin and Abby scot-free. They hug, they head off. Horrible scoundrel scumbags of the earth.
They just got away with it. I really,
It's really interesting.
I really hope they don't just get away with it.
Well, this is what people were saying about Imran, wasn't it? About him lying in court, like he shouldn't get away with it. It's not fair. And we were saying, well, he did it for a reason, and you know, Alfie and Kevin and Abby have done this for that reason because they want to get custody of Alfie now.
Yeah.
And it really is down to like, there's two different questions here, isn't there? It's like, who should get the kid out of the mum and the dad? Who did the worst thing out of what Kevin and Abby did versus what Imran did? Imran lying in court about her being back on drugs, and like he said in the car later, using their privilege to sort of get one over on Abby, which I thought was an interesting observation, and it will endear them to nobody, even though Imran admitted that. He had the perspective to know that is what he'd done, versus Kevin and Abby who've tried to kidnap a child and also tampered with a car as well.
Yeah.
Next up, we see the detective in with Toyah, and the detective's being a bit of a raging cow, isn't she?
She wants to get the answers, doesn't she? It's nearly home time. She wants to go home and have a Jubilee celebration with her family. So just tell me what happened, Toyah.
I've got to go home.
Amnesia isn't a thing.
She wants to pin it on somebody. That's the thing about this. Is interesting to me is that she's like, this crash happened for a reason. There's no such thing as an accident. What happened? You know what I mean? Like, maybe there was just an accident, Mrs. Detective Lady. And she's being really mean to poor Toyah.
I know, this woman who's just been widowed earlier that day,
Yeah.
she's really haranguing her,
But,
isn't
you know,
she?
maybe she was widowed because she did it on purpose, which is what the suspicion is now, isn't it?
Yes.
What was her relationship with Imran like before the crash? The detective was asking, were you fighting? Did you have a row? We've got information that you might have been in a fight while you were driving.
So, what information
Now,
is
this
that
is interesting
exactly?
to me. This is interesting to me, Michael, because where, like you say, is this a throwaway line they haven't thought about, or is there a witness, and is this witness implicated more than we might imagine at this point?
I wonder. There could be. It does it. We could have just been. I'm kind of hoping that you're going to think that we know that you would be lying, or or is it just the fact that
this might be a clue?
Yeah, could it?
I just want to add something else in. Did you say about the black car?
No, we haven't mentioned the black car yet.
So at the end of the crash.
Yeah,
was it Wednesday?
Yeah, it was during Wednesday's episode. It was when Imran's got Toyah down on the floor after heroically pulling her out of the car. They're lying down there, and then the drone cam is kind of flying upwards. But then you get this black car that pulls up fairly nearby,
and you
stops,
kind of
and then drives on again.
Can I just say, if a car could look casual, it did. It was the most casual looking drive-by I've ever seen. It kind of like came into the road, like pulled out enough so that the driver could see what was going on and went, nothing to do with me, and drove off. Now, who was driving that car? Is there a reason? Because that car didn't need to be there. Just remember, everybody, this is a set. That's not a car that just happened to be driving past. Somebody was in that car and they put that car in there, and that doesn't make the actions of that driver makes no sense. That was deliberate. That was in the script, that a black car comes, stops at the end of the road, sees it and drives off.
There was also a man walking at the back, like under the bridge, wasn't there? Just kind of hopping around.
Now, I thought that man was in there like to go, this is a real place and people are walking around. But the car, that is logical.
It strikes you as, fairly unusual. But I mean, this could just be a man in the ghost costume at Coronation Street kind of thing, where it's like,
because we made a big deal about that too, didn't we?
Who was that in the ghost costume? Nobody.
But it's one of those things where I think that was a mistake of Coronation Street to put that in, because they know more than anybody. If you focus on a character in a mask during some kind of in a
big event, people are going to
speculate that. I think that
yeah. But so that leads us to Friday. We went into today's episode full of theories about what could have actually happened, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
None of which particularly came true, because what we got to see on Friday was kind of the most obvious thing and the thing that most people, I think, were predicting that would happen.
Well, everybody's decided this is what the case is now, haven't they?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm still thinking we haven't seen the whole story, but maybe I'm just in denial.
Yes.
I
think
I really hope that this isn't the
50-50.
whole story. Really hope not, because I'm feeling so sad after watching Friday's
If this is
episode.
what really happened, I think I might quit the show.
This is, I mean, what actually we saw on Friday, we'd been talking about all our theories beforehand, and you said, this is the thing I want to happen the least. And I think both of us, if what happens is Toyah's just mad at Imran in the car and she crashes, that is the worst possible outcome.
It really is.
And it's like they were taunting us today with it. So let's get on to it then. So Friday, you got fuming Leanne again. She's trying to get Toyah to remember because the detective's still at Toyah going, what happened? You got to remember this. And then so she has a little flashback about the Vegemite that morning. It's like, no, don't have a flashback about that. Nobody cares.
I thought this was really funny. I don't know whether they put this in because Marmite is branded and they didn't want to promote it. But what a Toyah thing as well. She can't even have Marmite. She's got Vegemite, the most boring alternative.
The most boring of all the mites.
It is. You know what I mean, though? She's not even interesting enough that she's got a very divisive spread. You know, everyone's arguing about Marmite. No one cares about Vegemite. But Vegemite can stay on the shelf for all everybody else cares. Nobody's arguing, do you hate or love Vegemite?
I know, it's so funny.
It's the most bland thing ever.
So the detective's going, come on. We believe that he told you some disturbing news minutes or maybe seconds before you crashed. And Toyah's like, no, he didn't tell me anything.
I think that that's what she's referring to when she said last episode that we've got information you might have been fighting.
Yeah, I think so. It's still
but I prefer to think that the black car had a witness who might have been somebody who we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. So Toyah learns at this time that Kelly went to the police station to tell all about Imran's confession.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that? Did I totally miss that?
What?
Okay. No, that's fine. If we did, that's okay.
Yeah, Kelly was in the...
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. So Abby, meanwhile, is...
No, hang on. Yeah, Toyah says, no, Imran didn't tell me anything.
Yeah. Imran did not tell me anything.
And she's like, I can't believe that Kelly went to the police about this as well.
Yeah. So Abby sees Kelly in the street and Kelly says, oh, my mum's going to be spinning in my grave because she raised the grass in her grave. Poor Kelly. She's lost how many parent figures in the last few months?
Literally in the space of I don't even
2
know.
2 months.
She's lost 3 parent figures.
Which is more than most of us lose in a lifetime.
Yes.
50% more, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Abby says, I can't believe he told you about this lying. So Leanne...
Well, this is Abby realising that Imran's not as bad as she thought he was.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is Coronation Street quickly trying to rehabilitate him.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah, trying to get the Twitter people to shut up about how horrible Imran is and how he deserves to be dead.
So the detective at this point has got totally fed up with Leanne sticking her neb in. It's like, can you leave the room, please? And Leanne fine then. And then Toyah continues to get grilled. And she was like, were you afraid that they'd put a stop to Elsie's adoption? And Toyah's like, look, we did not fight while we were driving. I didn't crash the car to punish Imran. I loved him.
Aww.
And when I was watching this today, I was thinking, yes, that definitely didn't happen. Toyah is saying now it didn't happen, so they're not going to have that as happened. It just seems a little bit too much again, too obvious for Toyah to say, this didn't happen, and then later on they showed it did.
Yeah.
I'm going to be convinced until the end of time that there's more to the story than this. So they better just get on with it and tell us what it is, to be honest. Kevin and Abby, meanwhile, are talking about Alfie and wondering where's he going to go now. Kevin says, look, we need to get him here with you. But Abby says, look, the courts have already decided that I'm not a fit mother. Why wouldn't they do it again? And Kevin's just geeing her up, saying, no, it's fine. We're going to be a lovely, happy family together.
But it is funny though, because that is actually true.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand why. This
the
is
court's going to go. I suppose you better have him then.
This is like the head vampire methodology of Coronation Street plots sometimes though, where once the major problem is taken out of the story, all the annoying consequences just disappear completely. Like,
Yeah, I know.
like a head vampire in like the stories. If you kill the head vampire, all of his minions turn back to human or disappear altogether, depending on what kind of. So, like, Kevin really believes that, like, just because Imran's dead, he's the one that was stopping them having Alfie. Therefore, everything's fine.
Yeah, happy
but I
ever
also
after
want to
time.
point out that the courts have decided twice that Abby shouldn't have the kid.
I know.
And the second time wasn't even whether Abby should have the kid or not. It was whether Imran should have the kid, or I can't remember. But
I can't remember. I thought it was about Abby, but
I really would hope that if you had a child taken away from you, because I'm sorry, but I think the child's welfare is the most important thing than anybody's feelings. I would hope that if the courts took a child away because of serious drug abuse, they would give it more than a couple of months to find out whether you were suitable to have the kid back.
Yeah, well, it depends
if
whether
it's so serious that the kid that they wouldn't give him her custody.
But the reason that they didn't give Abby custody is because they were led to believe that she'd been scoring on the very morning, and if any evidence is able to come to light to prove that she didn't, like, I don't know, some kind of answer phone message confession, then maybe the court. No,
they originally stopped. No, my point is that we all know she took drugs when she gave birth to Alfie. Yeah? So that was not that long ago. That's my point. That was not that long ago. So I would hope that there would be some kind of set amount of time that you would have to go through in order to prove. And I genuinely think that Abby, I think now, is very capable. She's had that test, like we said. She went off. She thought everything had gone wrong. She thought she was going to go to prison. She thought she'd never see Alfie again. She thought she'd ruined everything. She didn't go and take drugs. So I feel like that was a very good test. But I still think
it doesn't feel
if
like
I was in charge of a kid, I wouldn't go
long enough. I mean,
that's fine. Then have him now.
Yeah,
I just really don't think that's
you've
fair
resisted
on the
urge to take drugs twice now.
Yeah, I
fine.
don't think
you
that's
can look after this kid for the next 18 years.
A realistic, idea about how addiction works.
No, I know, no, totally. No, I totally agree. Anyway, so we have a scene then with Gary and Kelly. She's still sitting alone in the dark. She's crying. She's so upset about what's happened. She's worried about Toyah being the widow. She's worried about Mrs Habeeb, Sarah Habeeb, Imran's mum, because in the last few years she has also lost numerous family members. She lost Mr Habeeb a couple of years ago. Rana got flattened by a building, and now poor Imran's copped it. So she must be. I wonder whether she's going to come back for the funeral, maybe. Anyway, she feels guilty for blabbing to the police. What if Toyah blames me for the rest of her life? And Gary says, no, it took guts to do what you did. And that's Imran living on right there. Bloody Gary, when's he going to get his comeuppance? He's living on borrowed time, I tell you. Right, Toyah and Leanne back at the flat now. Toyah still can't process this all, and there's just memories of Imran all over the flat. There's like photos everywhere. She goes and picks up his jumper, doesn't she? It's so sad.
Oh, that was really sad when she picked up his jumper, and then later when Leanne leaves her.
Yeah, because Leanne doesn't want to leave her alone in the flat, and Toyah's like, I'm not on my own. I don't know whether she was kind of referring to the fact that Alfie was there, or whether she was like, oh, Imran's watching over me. He's here in spirit. I've got his jumper. I don't know. But anyway, she swears she's not going to do anything stupid. And she's there with her pills for a lot of the episode, isn't she? And I wonder whether people were wondering whether she was going to overdose or something. But she doesn't, because Alfie needs her. Leanne says, right, I'm just going to go back, get some pyjamas, come back. I'll stay with the night with you. It's going to be fine. And as she leaves the flat, she's barely out. She goes out the door, and as she's going past that little weird window to the hallway, which I don't really understand why they have in that flat, Toyah collapses again, doesn't she?
She kind of
doubles over
out, and
yeah.
God, that was sad again.
Good. She's so good. So Toyah, I say after the break now. At this point, she plugs her phone in, and this is a classic soap thing to do, isn't it? Somebody's left an answer phone message, but the phone's run out of battery, and then later on, when you think everything's just calming down a little bit, no, she plugs the phone in, sits down, having a look at the wedding album.
This is incomprehensible to me, I have to say. She's been in hospital, right, and she didn't have her phone on her. What the hell was she doing? Reading The Guardian? I couldn't cope. If I was in hospital, I'd be like, I need pain relief and a phone charger.
Gemma, I think you forget the quality entertainment that they put on at Weatherfield General. I know Jeff is gone,
no more.
But I'm sure he had a prodigy that was just keeping Toyah entertained for the many hours that she was there today.
Song requests.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun.
No, so she's just getting her phone back. Unlike the rest of us, she's not addicted to it. She can go without it for a few hours.
Is this why she's a superior mother to Abby? She's not even addicted to her phone.
Yeah. Too bloody perfect, that Toyah, isn't she? But anyway,
She's got the
Imran's message dings up.
She's got the wedding album.
Yeah, she has. She's looking over that. And she's like stroking Imran's face. And at this point, I was thinking, oh, at least she's going to have happy memories of Imran. Because what
smiled,
what I did not want when I knew that Imran was leaving is for them to leave on a sour note.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And for Toyah to hate him.
Well, I'm sorry, Michael.
I know, because...
We should have stopped watching, I told you.
We should have done. She listens to the message, and she's just
Imran's message.
Gutted about the whole thing.
Don't tell the police, you don't know the whole story.
She starts to have her flashback. She remembers leaving the police station, sitting in the car together, and having a little bit of heated words between each other. And
she's being quite snitty.
She is, isn't she? She's just really wants to know why didn't you tell me? Well, what's going on here?
Well, let's put her in the headspace that she was in when they leave the police station. She has been told Abby's tried to kidnap Alfie and take him to Costa Rica, but it's cool, and I want her to have more access to Alfie because I feel like we've been a bit mean.
Yeah.
Don't report her to the police. So now she's in the car with this stupid husband of hers, and I can totally sympathise with her here. And he's like, let me explain to you why this makes total sense.
Yeah, she's like, why the U-turn on Abby? And he says, oh, she's just desperate, you know. Toyah's like, whatever. And then she says, a life on the run for Abby, how ridiculous. And he tells her, look, you're starting to sound really sneery. And I'm watching this going, no, this is going where I do not want it to go.
Well,
he says, oh, we abused our power and privilege. And poor Abby, she had nothing. And Toyah says, look, she's not a good mother. Not when she's drugged off her face half the time. And this is when Imran confesses to her about lying in court. She was never on drugs after Abby was born. Alfie was born, sorry. He says, look, Abby's the victim here. She doesn't deserve this. And Toyah is getting really wound up at this point.
This is like me. This mirrored me completely. I was like... No!
Yeah, I was watching this thinking, sometimes I do this. I talk myself into a hole with Gemma in the way that Georgia Taylor was acting here. It's almost like she's been observing you to get the mannerisms off. So we cut back to the flat for a little bit. Toyah's getting really frustrated because she's starting to remember. I don't know whether she's getting frustrated at Imran or she's frustrated that... what she's remembering she's not happy with, I don't know, but Alfie's crying. Back to the flashback, and Imran's telling her, look, just keep your eyes on the road, because she's getting really wound up. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, she is just going to crash into the thing, isn't she, into the scaffolding. He's telling her about Ben, but that's not happy. So I hired Ben in the first place, so you can't blame him. But I promise I was sure that Abby was using them, and I think that was really important to get that bit into it, because I think I've seen people saying, oh, Imran didn't believe that Abby was on drugs. He absolutely was convinced, and I know that he wanted her to be on drugs so that he would have an excuse to take Alfie. But I do completely believe that he thought she was using, and he was saving Alfie from being brought up by a woman who's off her face.
And I honestly challenge anybody to say that they would not do the same thing in Imran's shoes. I know the same is true of Abby, and I can understand that, but I do think that a lot of people who are on Abby's side can't see it the other way round. And he said 100% I believed that she was on drugs, but I knew that we didn't have the evidence. So he's saying, I did lie in court, but to clarify, Ben was lying about the drugs, and Imran was lying that the evidence proved that happened. Yeah,
and he was saying, look, just tell me I was worth it. Tell me I did the right thing. But Toyah's like saying, Abby never stood a chance. She is absolutely livid. Elsie's gone. We're never going to get her. We are finished as parents. They're both sobbing.
They're both crying. And Toyah says, oh, I should have listened to Leanne. I should have never taken you back. She just knows that their whole lives are coming to an end, as like you said, as parents. And they're crying in the car. And he says, look, can you pull over so we can talk properly? He's still kind of tipsy. I don't know how tipsy he actually is. But she's distraught. She's in charge of a car. She's a woman driver. And she refuses to pull over.
She is a woman scorned, isn't she? And then this is when she says, I hate you, Imran. I hate you with all my heart.
And
then she drives into the wall.
Then we see the sea. So we see her in the car. She says that line. Then it cuts to us seeing the car drive straight into the wall.
Yeah, there wasn't like a huge, swerving all over the place. It wasn't a big, hot and bypass crash kind of thing, was it?
No.
In Hollyoaks style. It was literally just bang, straight into the wall, which is pretty much the story that the police think happened at the moment.
Well, this is the story that Coronation Street has told us. I think most people now think that Toyah's killed Imran.
Yeah.
That Toyah tried to do murder-suicide.
I don't know.
And
it's really looking like that way, isn't it? But I'm not convinced. I just don't want to be
And then
convinced.
we also see a bit more of her perspective being in the ambulance.
Yeah, we had a couple more.
Watching Imran fall again.
Yeah.
Just flashbacks to him.
We got to see a few more of that chest compression bits and the camera zooming away from him. I don't know whether there was a little bit more to that than we saw on Wednesday.
There was more to that because I don't remember the paramedics having the discussion about.
No.
Do you think we should bother doing this?
Craig there looking bloody gormless all the way through it. But anyway, then
the way that the paramedics are kind of like giving this lackluster chest compressions, and it's like that line where they say, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. Let's just let him die.
Back to the present for the final scene. Toyah's there talking to Alfie, and she's like saying, do you know yet? Do you know that he's gone?
That's so sad.
No more silly songs at breakfast and stuff.
That's really sad.
And then she goes back to the phone, listens to the message again for Imran. Well, partly listens to it, presses 3 to delete it, and just kind of ends up looking very shocked with herself, like, oh, what have I done? I've just deleted something really important. I'm sure that's not going to come back and bite me in the bum at any point in the future. And so endeth the week. And I kind of left that episode going, that's not kind of what I wanted to happen in today's episode at all. I was left feeling just very, very gutted and sad by Friday's episode.
I have to say that all this week I was I wasn't enjoying it. I was very sad actually, but it was entertaining, and I was looking forward to recording this podcast. And then today, after watching today's episode, I was just like, I can't.
I know. Well,
I feel really down. I'm not happy with it, and it just makes me feel sad. And the other thing about it too is that this is such an important week, and I just feel so much pressure when there's a big storyline on Coronation Street to record an episode that is of equal quality to the stuff that we've seen. And I don't ever feel like it's possible for me to live up to the expectations of
I know. I mean,
an episode
this
about
is the
a
big
week.
week. It should be a big podcast week, and it is in a way. But I just can't enthuse quite as much as I would like to about it, because I feel a bit empty about it. But before we talk about that, let's what did you think about the whole 30-minute?
Is that the most interesting discussion that we can have? What did I think about it being 30 minutes long?
No, okay. Well, what do you want to start off with?
It was nice and snappy. It was good to break it up. There was lots of nice cliffhangers.
I enjoyed that it was on every day.
That
was quite exciting because they did a decent job. Even though there were big cliffhangers on a couple of days, I was every day thinking, I want to know what happens next. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, Corey's going to be on today. Every day it was like, well, what is going to be the revelation in tonight's episode?
The good thing was it was all one story. And I'll say I remember when we had Pat's exit and we were a bit disappointed in it because we didn't feel like Pat was in it enough. So the fact that we knew this was going to be a big Toyah and Imran week, we certainly didn't get shortchanged on that, and we didn't have any boring rubbish like Sean needs to find bunting for the Rovers, or
I mean, what did you think?
Rita's sold out of boiled sweets and it's Her Majesty's favourite. What are they going to do?
I think lots of people will be a bit disappointed that the Jubilee didn't get more time. I mean, they could well make Monday's episode Jubilee themed.
No one's going to care on Monday.
I know it's going to kind of be over by then, but this whole week was set on a day, wasn't it? Which was
you said it was the second, so that's
supposed to be the second,
yesterday.
but don't try and worry about too much about what days things are supposed to happen. But yeah, I think that if there had been celebrations going on in the pub or on the street or whatever at the same time, it would have just detracted from it. And every time they cut to that, I'd be like thinking, I don't care about that.
No.
I know it's the Jubilee and everything, but I want to know what's going on with Toyah and Abby and Imran and everyone.
But it was so depressing.
I was very, very gripped, but it was really, really depressing.
And I just want to also point out that EastEnders this week had a special episode with Prince Charles and Camilla coming to the street for a party, and I haven't watched it, but I was a bit apprehensive when I knew that they'd filmed it. I was like, this could go down really bad. I don't know, this might be cringe. But apparently it was really good and everyone really liked it, and they really liked Charles and Camilla and thought it was great. And I can only imagine the parallel universe that has been created by soaps this week, whereby you're flicking through and EastEnders is the one with the happy thing, and Coronation Street has a woman crying in bed because her dead husband's left her with a baby that's not hers. Like, what world are we in?
Yeah. I just wonder what next week's going to be like now, because I think they're probably going to just go back to all the other stories. I mean, this one's obviously going to carry on, but we're going to be back to summer. Are we going to go back to the others? And I don't really want that.
No. If this show was just Toyah's adventures, remembering being a murderer.
I don't want there to be any other story until Toyah is redeemed.
Yeah, me too.
But it doesn't feel like that's going to happen.
Fast forward. Don't want to know about this.
Right, let's talk about dear departed Imran before we move on to anything else. Oh my gosh, our lovely dear Imran is gone from the covels.
I'm really gutted.
I'm so
gutted.
sad. I mean, I've been in mourning about this since pretty much March, when the rumours started circulating that he would be going.
We didn't mention it on the podcast because it was never officially confirmed by Coronation Street. We didn't even do a cabin extra about it. Because it wasn't officially confirmed by the street. So the information was not... I don't know how it got leaked.
It was just in the Sun, wasn't it?
No, I know how it got leaked.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. The same way as it always gets leaked, some naughty insider.
But I think Coronation Street would definitely have preferred to not have had that come out.
Can you imagine? I don't know what would have been worse.
I think I would have been sick.
If I went into this week thinking, hey, it's a Toyah and Imran week, they got a big trailer and everything, oh, there's going to be drama, there's going to be an epic stunt, and then suddenly, Wednesday, Imran drops dead, I think I would have followed him quite soon after to the mortuary, to be honest.
I am not really joking, I might have been sick.
Yeah, because the thing is, Charlie and Georgia, as great as they are, would not have told us.
No, they wouldn't.
They would have kept it quiet if that Imran was going.
I was absolutely, at one point, worrying that actually Toyah died as well.
I know.
Because I know that Georgia wouldn't tell us.
I know, but we also know that she's been to work. So.
No, but I said to you, we were having this discussion. You're like,
had this...
no, she's been saying she's been going to work, and I'm like, well, I did say it's not her job to be our friend and tell us everything.
I wonder whether Charlie would have been saying, oh yeah, go at work today. Whether he would have kept up the ruse, or whether he would have just said, oh no, it's a bit quiet for me at the moment.
I really don't know. I don't want to speculate.
But can we just tell the story? Because Charlie has given us permission to give this story. This is how we found out that Charlie was leaving. And it was equal parts utterly tragic and also hilarious as well. So I don't know if everybody remembers the night back in March when the news broke in the Sun online that Imran would be leaving Coronation Street, but there was like the usual, a source says Charlie wants to move on because of blah 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 and whatever. And I was getting ready to go to bed that one night, and it was a school night, I remember, and I was in bed and I read the article and was like, what the heck is this? Imran, he can't, no way, this has got to be fake. So I was like, right, text Charlie, are you leaving? What the hell is this news? And then nothing. Did not get a reply from him, and I could not sleep that night. I think it was about 10 o'clock, which is fairly early for me to go to bed. But I'm the sort of person that as soon as my head touches the pillow, I'm asleep, aren't I?
Yeah.
I was awake for like 3-4 hours, just tossing and turning
and
worrying, and it makes me sound so sad and nerdy, and I feel like ashamed of myself for doing this. But I was thinking, no, I don't want Charlie to leave. I don't want Imran to go. Imran and Toyah are like some of my favourites, and it was gutted. I couldn't sleep. I think I eventually dropped off at about 3 in the morning, maybe 2:30, 3 in the morning. And you come to bed really late, don't you? Sometimes you don't come to bed until like 3 a.m. And I
don't know to confess this or not, but I have had a bit of a mental health crisis. Might be a good way to describe it. And I was having a very bad night already, wasn't I?
Yeah, and then this kind of gets on top of it, and we still hadn't had any reply from Charlie. I mean, fair dues, it is late. We're not expecting to be at their beck and call at 24 hours a day. But then I think I woke up at my normal time, which is ridiculously early, about 4:30 the next morning. But I think actually, no, before that, I think when you came to bed, that woke me up, and I just had a look at my phone, and then he had texted us back at that point, hadn't he?
I said, I came to bed, and I said to you, you were like, oh, I'm sad, and I said, have you seen the message though?
Yeah, and this message from Charlie on our group chat said something along the lines of, no, don't worry, it's not true, I'm not leaving, it's a load of rubbish. And then I was like, thank bloody gosh for that. I can now go to sleep for the next half an hour or so, safe in the knowledge that Imran is not leaving Coronation Street. Straight to sleep. Brilliant.
But then I was like, oh, that's good. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I don't know.
Is he just saying that?
Yeah. I started to get really...
You were getting a bit suspicious, weren't you?
And I also, like, already being a bit mental, I was getting paranoid as well, and it was not fun.
No. So next
this
morning...
This is so ridiculous, I'm sorry.
It's really ridiculous. Next morning, I get up, and I texted back saying, oh, that's so good, I'm really pleased that you're not leaving, blah, 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 blah. And I can't remember, then we had more of a... Did we have more conversations then? I can't remember. I think at some point... Georgia Taylor joined in on the conversation and I was saying, look at all these people online, because by this point obviously I'd seen it on Twitter, I'd been to the Digital Spy forum, I'd been to the Coronation Street subreddit, and everyone's going, oh my gosh, have you seen this? It says that Imran's leaving. Oh, beautiful Imran, I don't want him to go. And I was sitting there going, I know the truth. I know he's not leaving. I was feeling ridiculously smug and insider-knowledgey about it. And I was texting them saying, "Oh, everybody thinks that you're leaving." Ha 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 ha. And then I go to school, and I think it was it was after the children had come into school. I had a little notification on my watch, and I saw that Charlie had sent us a video message, and I was like, hang on a minute, what's this? And like you said, I'd already just had my little suspicions that maybe that this wasn't all as it seemed. And I had to look on my phone, and it said it was like an 8-minute long video message that Charlie had sent us. And at that point, it was like, I know what this is. And then I kind of like snuck into the cloakroom just for a little minute, just to watch the very beginning, literally the first 10 seconds of the video, and that was enough. I knew that this is Charlie saying, sorry guys, I am actually leaving. And to cut a long story short, his reason had been that he'd been out at a mate's the last night. They'd maybe had a few drinks too many, and at 3:00 in the morning, when he got back and saw the message from me, he thought the best idea.
No, I think that he wasn't wrong.
Oh no, I don't think he was, but he decided that he was going to try and cover up the fact that he was leaving, not so that we wouldn't be sad or anything, but because Charlie knows that we don't like spoilers.
Well, it also wasn't supposed to be leaked.
It wasn't supposed to be leaked at this point.
If anybody asked him, "Are you leaving?" he would have said no.
Yeah, I guess
because that's part of the like when you're in a soap and you have a story like this, you have to keep it quiet.
Yeah. So he sent this big long 8-minute long apology message saying, "I'm so sorry.
It made me cry.
I didn't want it to come out like this. I'd planned, to tell you in my own way."
This is such a weird situation that we're in.
I know,
isn't it? Like, because they're our friends, but they're also in a show, and this can happen to any character, and like when you're kind of friends with somebody and you talk about your everyday life and that involves something that then we talk about So
that is the story of how we found out that Charlie was leaving. But that was literally all we got, because that was a couple of weeks before we went up to Manchester, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So again, I mean, probably, I imagine some of the listeners seeing us there in Manchester with Charlie probably would have thought, well, they're probably talking about these rumours that are going in the paper, which it did come up in conversation quite a lot, actually. What did not come up would be the method by which he would be dispatched.
Well, can I just point out, we didn't know that he was going to die in the show.
No, we didn't. All we knew that he was leaving. He wouldn't even tell us when, would we?
No.
Because I remember when we saw him.
You were fishing and he was like, no.
I was really trying to fish for information. He was being very, very good and not telling me, which he always is. All of the cast are very, very good.
I just want to say, we never get spoilers from people.
No, we don't. We absolutely don't. But they know that we don't want to know, really. But I'm like, I'm really curious. And I was like, I think, Charlie, you're going to be leaving in Super Soap Week in October. I think that you're still going to be around for our 10th anniversary on the podcast. And he was like, I'm not giving you anything, Michael. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
But obviously
so sneaky
he knew.
And rude.
But
you
then, I am. But then at Easter time, that's when the pictures of Charlie and Georgia filming in the car scenes came out in the news, didn't they? Because they got papped driving around Manchester, I think. And I was thinking, I wonder if could this be? They're doing location shoot. That's quite interesting. And then, and then after that, things happened that we kind of realised. Yes, well, we were told, that is it. I was filming my exit things today, so we knew. It was the week that we were in London, wasn't it? When we were staying at my sister's house. From that point, we knew we had, 7-8 weeks left of Imran. It made sense that it would tie in with the Britain's Got Talent week, but still didn't know that he was going to die. But even at that point, I was thinking, they're in a car. I wonder if they'll have a car crash. And then...
It was totally possible that Imran could have absconded with Alfie and taken the tickets in some kind of hand wave, you don't ask any questions why they're transferable, and taken Alfie to Costa Rica himself and said, sorry, Toyah, there's only 2 tickets.
I'm kind of glad he didn't, because this does feel a bit like a Roy and Hayley, Rana and Kate situation, where I think, no, he wouldn't do this, because they do love each other. Which is one of the reasons why the Toyah telling him I hate you with all my heart is her last words to him has cut so deeply for me today. But I don't think that there was any justifiable reason why Imran today would have left Weatherfield for good.
Well, he might have said, I'm taking... I'll never be rid of Abby, and I'm sick of her meddling, and she doesn't deserve Alfie. I'm going to take him.
Yeah, they could have had him say that, but I don't think that would have been in character for him to have done that and just abandoned Toyah and left his whole life here. So as we were getting closer to this week, I was thinking he's going to die. Then obviously 2-3 weeks ago we had the trailer with the all spinning around trailer, and Imran's there all scuffed up. You got the car on fire in the background. We didn't see any cars on fire this week, did we?
Cheated.
Also, what we didn't see at all, and I was expecting to have something maybe come out of this today, very little Adam.
What's Adam up to?
Yeah, because he was there pointing the accusatory finger at Imran, wasn't he? Throughout half of the trailer. No sign of Adam this week. Well, 1 or 2 scenes, but that was it. No Debbie this week, but she was in the trailer, so kind of interesting. But yeah, so when we saw that trailer, I was thinking, yep, he's definitely going to die. And people on the internet around this time, by this point, had also kind of decided, well, these rumours have got to be true, haven't they? I think he's going to die. Then the preview pictures for this week came out, and I saw one of them, I thought maybe 2, and it was just them post-crash. So I saw Toyah up against the airbags, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe he's going to die in the crash. But, then I also saw a picture of him helping her out of the car, and that just completely confused me. So I was thinking, what's it going to be then? So we basically, to cut a long story short, we've had a very, very, very long time to get used to the idea of Imran leaving, but it doesn't make it any easier, does it?
No, I'm very sad.
I am really, really sad, and
yeah.
I mean, no actor should stay in the show if they don't want to. And Imran, Charlie has done some interviews already in the press, and talked about why he's leaving and everything, and the circumstances all around that. But I'm just so sad.
I'm gutted.
I'm really gutted.
I'm really mad. I'm really gutted.
I've got lots of feelings, and most of them are negative. But I'm also I'm really hopeful for Charlie on his future career, and I don't want him to be listening to this and make it sound like, you know, we're criticising him for leaving or anything. Obviously we're not, and I do really hope that and wish him the very, very best for the future, because he's a great actor, and I think that lots and lots of opportunities will be opening themselves up to him. It's just sad that he's been killed off, and means there's absolutely no chance of a return for Coronation Street, and it's split up yet another couple, and a couple that, dare I say, were quite well suited to each other. It's one that we've talked about a lot as, you know, relating to. There's another pair of snooty middle class people. The only difference is we have meat in our lasagna. Apart from that, we're exactly the same.
We don't snatch babies, but if I wanted one, I'd take one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We would.
Yeah.
So so that's that really, and
I feel it makes me feel. Genuinely feel like it feels more personal, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's not. But
what do you mean? Like, I feel like Imran dying. It feels like he really is dead, and really. I feel really sad.
It's different because, you know, so quite often when soap characters die, it's like, oh, hey, that was exciting, wasn't it? Or, hey, that was a great death, or that was a rubbish death, or anything. But it really does feel in this situation that he's actually gone. What did you think about his?
I'm really sad.
What did you think about his method of dying? The actual collapse and the shock and the surprise of it happening on Wednesday's episode, because I wasn't prepared mentally for it to happen on Wednesday. No. I was thinking at least we get him till Friday.
Do you think that they're gonna reveal what he actually died of?
This is what I'm wondering.
Go on then, tell me.
Because on the Wednesday's episode, he's waking up. He seems kind of fine, just a bit woozy. He wants Toyah to get out. I loved how they made him a bit of a hero before he died. I thought that was he had a bit of a quick redemption arc, didn't he? Because St. Kelly had forgiven him. He decided, no, I'm going to do the honourable thing and tell the police. He rescued Toyah with the scaffolding crashing onto the car just in time. Maybe it wouldn't have collapsed if you hadn't jiggled it so much, Imran, but never mind that. And then he's like saying, oh, I want to go to the hospital, I love you too. Oh. And then he just kind of keels over and dies. And I have to be completely honest about this. I thought that it was a bit weak, that he just one minute seemed fine and the next he was gone. And I know that's how death kind of works sometimes, to be fair, but he kind of stumbled around. I missed it because I was looking at my notes. They changed the scene. I was like, Gemma, what happened then? And you said, oh, Imran just collapsed.
No, I didn't. I said, you just missed it. He just died.
No, because he hadn't died at that point.
No, because I knew that he was going to die.
Yeah.
Because somebody told us.
Had they?
Somebody told. Remember, you got a message from somebody.
Oh yes, that's right.
You told me.
That's right.
Not
Anyone on the cast.
No, not anybody on the cast.
Or related to it at all.
Somebody who found out from
another source
said he's gonna die. So I knew that going into the week. So I was even more depressed because I still was holding out hope before the weekend. I was like, no, it's possible. He might just leave. And I was really, really hoping for it. So, but I already knew that he was gonna die. And so when I saw him collapse on the floor, I was like, well, he's dead then. And then I said to you, you've missed it. He's just died.
It is, and there shouldn't be you've just missed it moment, because he kind of stumbles down. Craig's there going, oh, you're all right, mate. And then later on, he's there with his chest compressions, and it's like, wow, that's happened quite quickly. And then they're already saying, we've been doing this 15 minutes. I'm like, well, he's gone. And it's almost they didn't give you enough chance for it to sink in. It was like 1 minute he's there and the next he's gone. So I then spent the rest of the week thinking, there's got to be more to it than this. And I came up with these hugely complicated theories about what could have happened here, none of which came to pass, because what actually we got to see on Friday was, like I said earlier, the thing that everybody kind of suspected, which was Toyah gets really mad and drives into the wall. Now, I'm still holding out hope, and I don't know whether I'm just being stupid here, that there is more to tell. I'm not saying that we're going to see Imran again, But
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I mean, Charlie did put on his Instagram just after the show today evidence. He's got two whiskey glasses, hasn't he, with his starting and ending dates. Very classy, I have to say.
Yeah.
So if he was going to come back
the end
for
date is today, end of June.
If he was going to come back for a final posthumous appearance, Aidan Connor style or whatever.
Well, I just imagine there'd be a flashback where we find out.
Yeah, it could have been that more was filmed at that time. I don't think Charlie's going to go back. If there are going to be any extra scenes, then it's already been filmed. Because go on.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, it just felt a little bit from the moment that Toyah says, "I hate you with all my heart." Then the wall. I would have thought that if they wanted to leave us in absolutely no doubt that she drove into that wall on purpose, they would have had her, like, you know, the classic pushing on the accelerator, Imran saying, "No, what are you doing?" And Toyah sort of saying, "I do it for
They
love,
would have
for
done.
us."
They would have done.
They
that.
would have done something like this, but they didn't. They just
The
showed
fact
the
that
car
they didn't have that
driving into the wall.
Makes me think that's not what
It
happened.
feels missing. Something
like,
is missing here.
It felt like there was time missing between her saying that and them crashing into the car. Because narratively speaking, it was a very weak way of telling a very strong and traumatic and emotional story. To have her say that and then the next thing, the wall, the car meeting each other.
Yeah.
There should have been, like you say, a scene of her jamming. There should have been a shot of her foot on the accelerator. There should have been a shot of her knuckles on the steering wheel. There should have been a close up of her face, furiously and determinedly driving into that wall. There should have been a shot.
This is it, Richard Hillman moment.
And there should have been, a close up of Imran's face, sort of screaming in horror and desperation, knowing that his death was imminent and it's all kind of his fault. Not that it is his fault.
So because we didn't see any of that, I can now cling on to my other theories. I posted about this on the Facebook group as well. I part of my other problem with today is that I had convinced myself it was going to go a different way. It's not just I think it is. I think I've got a clever theory here. So I always think, well, a few possible theories. I thought, for example, could Imran or Toyah have been poisoned? That was my thing that I was saying to you all week, wasn't it?
This.
I was thinking, could somebody have tampered with Imran's whiskey bottle? And because they made such a big thing about him, I've had a drink of whiskey, I can't drive. Did Ben or Adam or somebody, R. Kelly, Abby even, put something in Imran's whiskey?
How would they have done that?
I don't
would they
know.
have done it?
I don't know, and that's why I rewatched some of today's of this week's episode today, thinking, did Ben get into the flat, or where did this whiskey come from? Was it from the lawyer's office where Ben could have had something to do with it? But it hadn't, as far as I could tell. So if Imran had been poisoned, that would explain why he just kind of keeled over when it kind of looked like he was okay. Because now we're left with, he just died because of the shock of being in a car accident?
No, I think he had a pre-existing heart condition or something.
I hope they explain it.
I just want to point out, if Toyah did try to kill him, she did a really crap job, because it looked like he just died of coincidental sadness.
I mean, I've never been in a car accident like that, touch wood. And maybe you do hear about these people, walking free and then dropping dead 30 seconds later because of the terrible internal injuries.
And
maybe that's what happened to him.
Doesn't help.
So I was waiting at some point in the second half of this week for doctors to say, we've just performed our autopsy on Mr. Habeeb, and you'll never guess what we found inside his system. And this is what caused him to collapse. But
instead of a heart, he's got a rule book.
But they didn't have that. But then I was thinking, maybe that could have also explained what caused the crash, because maybe he had like a little pre-dying faint, and Toyah was there driving him. He passes out. She's there. Imran, are you okay? Crash into the wall.
That could still have happened, though.
That could have still happened. That's what I'm saying. I'm not giving up hope on that. Or I was thinking, was Toyah unconscious at the time of the crash?
That was too much of a coincidence.
Somebody could have got to Toyah, or maybe, I don't know, maybe she could have just passed out with the fury, and that's why the brakes weren't applied. It just feels to me like it was far, far, far too reckless of Toyah to have done that. I do not believe, although they did a quite good job of convincing me that she was really quite mad on Friday's episode, but I don't believe that she would have driven straight into that wall.
No.
Endangering, she is not that sort of person. Yeah, it's maddening. And before today's episode, I was thinking, no way. All Imran did was, a little bit of a white lie in court. Toyah would get over that. She would understand why he did it, etc. But no, the build up of that dialogue, because that was a long scene of them in the car doing their little tour around Manchester. Which, by the way, how long did it take them to get to the police station? It's only around the corner, isn't it, from Speed Dial? They were taking the scenic route.
Well, Michael, that's what Imran said to Toyah, and that's what started her being testy with him.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, you're going the wrong way." She's like, "Do you want to drive?" "No, you can't, because you're drunk."
But anyway, so I thought they did a good job of showing why Toyah was mad, but I still don't believe that she would have been so mad. And she was saying, "Oh, well, now I'm implicated. Nobody's going to believe that I didn't have anything to do with this. We're going to go to jail." I do not believe that Toyah would have been so stupid as to drive them both into there, leaving Alfie with no father, leaving Elsie back in the system. And I know she said, well, she's already back in the system. There's no way we're having her now. But I don't know. I still think we might have Elsie back. I don't think she would have done it.
Yeah, but she was sad. Like, everything she'd ever wanted has been taken away from her again. And it's all because of Imran. I can imagine a soap having that happen.
I can imagine a soap having that happen. And we'll come back to this in 2 months' time or whatever, and we'll go, yep, that's all it was. She just got mad.
I hope it's
not. But it feels really, really unsatisfying to me. It feels
like a bit of a character assassination.
It really, really does. But
sometimes that happens,
sometimes it happens for plot purposes.
No, I mean in real life.
Yeah,
I don't want to trigger people, but I read a story about suicide. So if you don't want to hear, skip forward a little bit. But I remember reading a story about a woman who survived a suicide attempt. And she was fine. She said, "I was totally fine. There was nothing wrong with me. I didn't have any sad feelings. I wasn't depressed. I was at a train station. The train came and I just jumped in front of it." She literally went from nothing to trying to kill herself.
It's the call of the void, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And she's like, "I want more people to know that this could happen. I want people to look into this because I don't know why I did it." And it's terrifying to imagine. Now, imagine if you are Toyah, who has lots of reasons to do something awful like that.
There was also the story, and I can't remember exactly which ex-cast member this is. I think I know, but I'm not going to say just in case I'm wrong. About somebody who, after Coronation Street, was driving down the motorway with their partner, and did they drive into the Central Reservation, or they nearly did, or some things? That ringing any bells for you? I'm sure we've read about someone. I think I know who it is, because I'm not going to say.
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so but it just doesn't feel right to me, and it just makes me really, really, really sad that the last thing that Toyah said and did to Imran was this and caused his death. You. So I want to cling on to the hope that she didn't do it, and that something else happened. It's already bad enough for me that they had this argument. I wanted them to go out a lovely happy couple, and when Toyah woke up from the accident and she was remembering Imran and had that beautiful scene with Alfie and going back home and stroking the pictures and everything, I was thinking, at least she's gonna have lots of happy memories with Imran. And now she's remembered this flashback on the Friday episode. It's like, well, that's kind of tainted that now, hasn't it? The question is does post-crash Toyah feel as mad about Imran's actions as pre-crash Toyah? Is she going to be thinking, yeah, I drove into that house and I'd do it again? Or is she thinking, what the heck did I do? Or is there still part of it that she doesn't quite remember? Is there something where one of them collapsed? Is this guy in the black car going to have run them off the road? Or is there something? I just really want there to be something.
I'm getting so depressed. I'm feeling sick again now. I genuinely feel queasy.
Oh, it's so horrible.
And
it's really,
but
really horrible.
I was going to say, like, it is a testament to how much, how well it's written and how well it's performed and how much we care about these characters.
Performances were so good.
Absolutely exceptional, fantastic. Can't say enough wonderful things about how horribly I've been treated by the actors this week. I genuinely feel incredibly depressed, and it's because everybody who worked on the show has created this scenario that has sucked me in to such an extent that it, makes me feel really, really sad. Just thinking of Toyah knocking around in that flat by herself with all the bits that were left over from Imran. He had no idea when he left that flat that he would never come back. Yeah. Left that Vegemite in such a bloody state.
So crumbs.
Do you want to hear my theory?
Yes.
My theory is...
Have you told me this yet?
Yeah, but you totally ignored me.
Oh.
My theory is that the black car was being driven by Ben.
Yeah.
So Ben has been scorned, I thought, quite unfairly by Imran.
Yeah, and he's been very noticeable by his absence since then.
He really... he's a drug addict too, but I think he's been a bit mistreated by Imran because he did what Imran wanted. He helped Imran get what he wanted out of life. He helped him stitch up Abby, and he's kind of taking all the blame there a little bit for what actually happened because Imran's like, I got plausible deniability. I believe that she was on drugs. It's not my fault, and so he's taking the blame. The last time he saw Imran, he was being treated like absolute crap for nothing. Kelly comes in and starts having a go at him, and Imran doesn't even defend him, even though the only reason that he's in that trouble is because of Imran, right? Now Imran starts threatening to go to the police and tell them that he lied. Everybody's thinking about the ramifications of that for Toyah, Imran, Abby, Alfie, Kevin. Nobody's thinking about the ramifications of what that means for Ben. Ben is involved in the legal. I don't know what he's a paralegal.
He's a paralegal, yeah.
He does. And now he can represent Imran in court because he is a ghost for lawyers. Lawyer for ghosts. So nobody's thinking about what. So he's going to be in trouble now. He is going to probably be struck off because he lied in court.
Yeah.
He actually did just as bad a thing as Imran did, and it's totally out of his control now.
As Imran a staunch Imran fan, I have to say that Ben was worse because I'm going to keep clinging on to the fact that Imran did not want to fabricate evidence, and Ben was pushing and pushing and pushing him to say, look, I can just pretend. And Imran was like, no. All right then. It's really all Ben's fault. Now,
if Ben found out that Imran was going to tell the police that he lied about this in court, I can imagine him pursuing Imran in the car to try to get them to not go to the police about this, or at the very least not implicate Ben in this. And maybe this is what happened. Maybe the crash was caused by Ben following them and Toyah getting distracted and driving into the wall because she wasn't looking where she was going.
Yeah.
Because they're having this argument, and then out of nowhere, Ben turns up next to them going, pull over, you've got to stop. And then Imran's going, get away from him, he's crazy, keep driving. She's already het up, and then maybe that's what caused the crash.
Maybe.
And then that's why the black car comes past them, looks to see, to make sure, and then drives off.
Yeah, the thing with that black car is, though, that pulled up a good, probably 5-10 minutes at least after the crash happened, didn't it?
Maybe he's done a turnabout the...
Maybe
he's been driving
a couple
around.
of times around the ring road.
Maybe he does what we do when we get to Manchester. Go, I don't know where I am. I've gone down another one-way system again.
I wonder. I also wonder, if there is more to it, does Toyah remember it now? We just, as the audience, haven't been seen, or is it still a bit faded in Toyah's memory? Because it was all very handy that she went from I don't remember anything to I remember the whole thing completely verbatim.
I wonder also, is that a real memory that she had, or is she kind of torturing herself with some kind of horrible...
It could have been.
Because honestly...
This is what happens when you have flashbacks. This could be some kind of...
fake memory.
Yeah, that she'd concocted based on what the police officer was telling her.
As well.
We're just desperately trying to find a way that didn't actually
At the end of the day, all you need to know if you're listening to this is that Toyah has done nothing wrong. She is an angel and a beautiful human being
Yeah.
It was made me, when we were watching it, when Toyah and Leanne came into the flat and she was standing in the kitchen while Leanne was holding the baby and stuff. I said to you, like, she just goes, screw it, I'm going to have a steak. Might as well. Imagine if the whole time they've been dating she was pretending to be vegetarian because of something Imran said and they got misunderstood, and then she was just faking it the whole time. Now she's like, thank God he's gone, I can stop eating this bloody vegetable lasagna. Maybe they both hated it this whole time.
Yeah, funny. So what's this going to mean for Toyah now? Because it seems to me, and it seemed like this, for a few days at least, that Toyah is going to get arrested. She's got to be arrested. If the police believe that she purposefully drove into that wall, that's attempted manslaughter, isn't it?
Murder.
It's
not manslaughter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, attempted murder. Surely. And it's the way that soaps are written. If somebody gets accused of something fairly early on in a big story like this, there's no way that they did it. That's why Kevin and Abby, when they were saying, "Oh, you tampered with the brakes," I was thinking, no, they didn't tamper the brakes. They're fine, because the first few people doing the rounds in the interview room, it's false arrest, isn't it? So when the police officer said to Toyah, I think that you drove into the wall, I was thinking, thank goodness she's been accused of that, because that means that she didn't do it. But I'm thinking, oh God, maybe she did. But yeah, I think that she's going to be. She's going to be taken in. Are we going to see Toyah in prison? Is Toyah a villain now? Are they going to completely change her? Could that be good for the character? Because some people have been saying that Toyah's a little bit boring.
We literally just said it not that long ago.
Yeah.
We'll know if she did it or not by how much she is maligned by the other characters on the street. If everybody starts suspecting her and being horrible to her and blaming her, it's almost guaranteed that she didn't do it, because that's what Coronation Street likes to do, don't they? They like to accuse somebody of a horrible crime, have everyone be really, really mean to them, and then reveal that it was not actually the case all along.
Yeah. I mean, if she does get brought in for it and arrested, I mean, it's not something that she's going to be let off with a slap on the wrist. She's going to go to prison for a long time, and I don't believe that they would do that to Toyah. One, I don't think they'd want to ruin her character like that, although why I think that, I don't know, because they've done it to plenty of other characters. But two, I think they want to absolutely keep Georgia Taylor in the show, and as far as I know, she will be in the show for quite a long time to come.
But
I bloody hope if we lose, and over the course of 12 months, Johnny, Emma, Imran, and then Toyah, it's like, I quit. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me that they would lumber Toyah with killing Imran, literally killing her husband and turning her into a husband killer.
Maybe they will take her in, accuse her of doing it, let her out on bail, take her in, have a very quick and improbable court case, and they say, okay, we looked at all the evidence, it was a bit of an asshole, you're sad because you don't have any babies, and we want to punish you, so you're going to spend the rest of your life with no babies, get out and go and do some community service or something.
Oh, I kind of hope that she ends up with a kid after this. When I heard that she was having Elsie back, I thought, okay, maybe that'll be nice.
If only they had given her the bloody kid before Imran had died, she'd get the kid, because once you adopt them, that's it. They have to leave you alone. Well, they're not going to come and say, actually, "Oh, we're back now." It's no takesies backsies. That's what it says on the adoption certificate.
Yeah. Because the character, one might argue, is in a slight rut, in that all of her stories revolve around need a baby, need a baby, need a baby. And if she had Elsie, then maybe she could get away from that and they could give her something else to do. I mean, we've had many years of Toyah having very little to do, but when she has had stories, it's invariably been about wanting to have a baby. So yeah, give her Elsie and everything's okay, but I just don't know how it can happen. Now, the other thing we haven't talked about is the fact that she deleted this answer phone message. Why do you think that she did that, and is that going to come round and bite her on the bum? Because by deleting the answer phone message... I don't know why she did that. Imran's... The message was Imran's confession to her, wasn't it?
No, it was him saying, you don't know everything, I'm going to tell you. It wasn't him telling her, I lied in court. It was him saying, listen, there's something you don't know. I've got to tell you. I did it for you, though. I've messed everything up.
So did she delete that message because she didn't want to condemn Imran further?
No, she deleted it because it provides supporting evidence that she knew something. Because
that's a bit silly, because she could have just said, literally, I didn't have my phone on, and surely the phone would have said at what time the message was listened to.
I don't know. I don't know if they can prove that or not.
But I would have thought that, I can't remember whether Imran has told anybody else that he left a message, but if they go snooping around on her phone, they can look at his phone, to be honest, and say, it says here that he left you an answer phone message at 3 o'clock on Thursday, Toyah. Where's that then? Can we have a look? Oh, you've deleted it. That's a bit suspicious. We'll just look in the recently deleted folder. Here it is. Bad luck, Toyah.
Well, can I just say, if she is going to be accused of murder, that will be evidence that she deleted it that makes her look even worse.
Exactly. That is going to make her look bad. I just want to know who's going to defend her if she is a...
Oh, no, there's nobody to defend her.
She's going to have to have Adam, isn't she?
Do you think Adam would? Or do you think he'd be like, no, now all the reviews are like, I don't like this lawyer because one of them's dead.
Yeah, I mean, Adam had been, pretty narked off with Imran for quite a while, wasn't he? Because of the disrepute he was bringing his legal profession.
Maybe it was Adam and Ben in the car.
Might have been.
Because honestly, if Adam's involved, if you want to link Adam to it, you could through Ben, because he's hired these two idiots who are lying in court all the time. He doesn't want that to come out either. I know it's a bit weak, but
I wish it was Adam that ended up dying in this and not Imran. Just saying.
I'm so furious
I could
that
live
he's
without
dead.
that.
I'm sorry that I'll never forgive whoever decided.
Ian McLeod.
I have a blood feud with him now. I don't know what that means. Does that mean we have to fight to the death?
I think it does.
I think he'd probably take me.
Yeah, maybe. So anything else? Let's. Abby and Kevin, have they just got away with it all now?
It really I feel a bit
kind of
annoyed.
Feels like they have. They're kind of walking out of this week smelling the roses, aren't they? But I mean, you see how quickly the tide of opinion turns. Because say a year ago, everybody loved Abby. I don't know, there were people that didn't, but on the whole, people did. And then when we got to like November, December last year, there was just this wave, this tsunami of hatred aimed at Abby on the internet, and people were saying, I'm fed up with the oversaturation of Abby and Sally Carmon on this show. This is turning into the Abby show. Look at all these things that she's doing wrong. Now she's harassing poor Kelly. She brought the gun onto the street. She's got away with that. And then even earlier into this year, people were having a go at her. But as soon as it turned into an Abby versus Imran and Toyah, it felt like there was a massive surge in people on Abby's camp, wasn't there?
I feel like no matter what happens, I'm on the wrong side of public opinion about this.
Well, you did Twitter polls every day this week, didn't you?
It's like 70 to 80% on Abby's side all the way through.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we put polls on Twitter saying, whose side are you on now? And it was vastly, overwhelmingly in favour of Abby. And I don't get it. And I get Abby's... I love Abby, and I want her to be happy and have a baby as well. But, yeah, it just seems that everybody is totally against Toyah and Imran. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they were to sweep this under the carpet. But there is still the matter of the passports, isn't there? And I think Kevin's got them at the moment. If they get found, then Abby and Kevin could have some questions to answer. But then that kind of makes the story go off in a direction it doesn't really need to.
I've looked it up, and conspiracy to kidnap is a crime in this country. And it says here, this is from Stuart Miller website, I don't know, Stuart Miller Solicitors.co.uk, and it says, conspiracy to kidnap does not have a maximum sentence.
Ooh.
Depending on what happened, you may be handed a very lengthy prison sentence. Now, obviously, we don't want to lose Abby and Kevin.
No.
So in a way, we kind of do want them to get away with this, because if it turns out that they get found out for this, they could be in serious trouble.
Yeah, so it's kind of helpful if they don't get caught out, but it's not if they don't get caught. But it's not really fair, is it?
It feels
and
very
especially
unfair.
if Abby gets Alfie and they all live happily ever after together, her, Kev, Jack and Alfie, while poor old Toyah is languishing in prison.
Now here's a question. If everybody believes that Toyah killed Imran, would Abby believe that as well? Is she gonna turn on Toyah? Because she kind of, like, there was a scene that we didn't talk about where Kevin and Abby are on the sofa at the very end of the week and they're talking about getting Alfie back, and Abby's talking about how much better a father Imran would have been than she is going to be a mother. She was saying, oh, he would have learned to do this and he would have gone to university and whatever. I can't give him all of those things. So now he's dead, and he tried to redeem himself at the last minute. Is he going to sort of take on this sort of kind of holy sainted status in Abby's mind? Might she turn against Toyah and stop her from seeing Alfie altogether? Is she gonna give Toyah the same sort of patronising, very small amount of contact with Alfie that they were offering to her? Because Twitter would love that very much, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see who is on Toyah's side, because obviously Leanne's got her back no matter what.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
I can imagine Nick squinting like, I'm not sure.
Nick's squinty news to Kelly this week. He's like, didn't you heard? Everyone's dead. Yeah, so Leanne, up until very recently, had been telling Toyah, you are absolutely nutso for going back to Imran.
Yeah.
So if she finds out, you know, with Toyah tell Leanne...
What are you going to say? Like, Leanne would be like, well, I'm glad you killed him because I didn't like him.
Yeah, I think whatever Leanne's going to be on her side, there might be the odd...
Ride or die.
There might be the odd scene where she's like, how could you? But then she'll be back with her. But it could very well be a situation, because Imran was pretty well respected in the street, that everybody turns against her. Oh, it's so sad. I'm really looking forward to it. It's like, I looking from between behind the sofa and between my fingers. I really want to know what happens, but it riles me up thinking that I could be watching this feeling very, very angry, because exactly what happened tonight is what I did not want to happen. I said, number one, I don't want Toyah to have just driven into the wall. Two, I didn't want it to be Ben, because at the time I was thinking, maybe that's too obvious an option, because Ben was mysteriously disappeared after Monday's episode.
But a lot of people weren't in it.
No, exactly.
Because it wasn't about them. It's like saying it was Mary because she wasn't in it.
But I am still holding out on the hope that there is more to this crash than meets the eye.
I'm really hoping.
I will say that until I die.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do like to let mysteries and some sort of plots linger for years. Like, poor Imran's never going to know about what happened to the report.
Listen, they sometimes don't resolve these questions that we have, like Rana's death.
Oh, I know.
Now the thing is, right, I think Charlie's well known for having discussed like how his fantasy of how Imran would go out were he to die on the show, and it was always like a rooftop battle with,
in the rain,
with Gary Windass
after finding out about him being responsible for Rana's death.
I feel like not only has Charlie been cheated of that, but we have as well, because that would have been epic and satisfying.
That would have been so
The
satisfying.
sad fact of the matter is they've left it so long that lots of people watching now either don't care about Rana or don't even know who she is.
Yeah, and I mean, Ian McLeod has had his highs and his lows as producer on Coronation Street, and it's been a very lengthy time he's been producer. He's done some really, really fantastic stuff, but he does let things linger on for too long, and then they get too long that people don't care anymore.
That's the balance you've got.
Like the Rick Neelan thing, it was ridiculous how long that was. Like, when are people going to find out that Gary killed Rick Neelan? And now they've kind of tied it up really quickly, like, oh, Laura said it was her. That's all sorted now. Well done, Gary. You got away with that.
It feels
and
really
now,
bad.
And now, no, there are. Who cares about Rana now that Imran's not dead?
He is dead.
Imran's dead. Sorry, nobody's asking. How did that roof collapse? Because as far as people know, it was Rick Neelan. So both of the Neelans have taken the blame for something that Gary's done. And he's sitting there laughing, being all kind of holier than thou and like, oh, look at me, I'm having a redemption. So Ian McLeod said, let's make him the next villain. And then now it's like he's done a U-turn and go, no, actually, we'll just make him do some bad things and then we'll redeem him again.
Okay,
It's like
can I challenge you then?
unsatisfying.
When we found out, or when we sort of theorised that Gary was going to be a big villain on the street, you weren't very keen on the idea, and I was thrilled about it. I was like, I found Gary a bit kind of boring, and I wasn't interested in him at all. And then they sort of started doing, I'm a loan shark, I'm kind of, I'm embroiled in all these nefarious deeds against my will, and I'm really a good lad behind it all. And I was like, this is thrilling and wonderful. And I'm sad that he's being made into a villain, because it seems like his leaving is now inevitable.
Yeah.
And what would you have rather had? That or this, with him just going, oh, whatever, I get away with it?
I'd rather have had that. I'd rather him by now paying for his crimes.
That's what I mean, see? I was right.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's totally got away with it. But Sarah's got away with hiding Callum's body.
That's what I was just about to say.
Gary's got away with this. And
everybody still thinks that blimmin' Tony Stewart killed
Callum. And that's, like I say, one thing that I will say that Ian McLeod I'm not too happy with. They'll put these plot things in for drama and then just drag it out just long enough that people don't care about it anymore, and they'll say, oh yeah, fine, whatever.
And we won't bother resolving it.
No.
That's really bad, because people need to be invested in stories.
So justice is a force of the universe,
well,
and it feels like in these circumstances it's not done its thing.
It's not just that, there's a danger. If you're a soap viewer and you're like, well, this, like, I wanted to know what happened, and they never spoke about it again, or they never brought that back up again. Why should I now be invested in this storyline? Because that might come to nothing. Yeah. So you've got to be careful about losing people's loyalty through, letting you down. Yeah. Yeah.
I think this discussion may well have run its course.
We're sad to say goodbye to Imran.
I'm so sad. Charlie has been wonderful. He's been a real, friend of the podcast, a supporter, an ally to us, hasn't he? He's lovely. He's the loveliest person.
If you like Imran, you would like Charlie's way better
even nicer than
Imran. Imran's like a mere shadow of how nice Charlie is. He's also much funnier than Imran.
He has tears streaming down my cheeks all the time. He's just nicest kind. He's so considerate. He's really genuine.
He's really thoughtful.
He's really, really thoughtful and funny.
But he's not dead though.
He's not dead. I'm glad. I'm still want to be friends.
We're talking about
still going to be friends with Charlie.
It's a funeral for Imran.
I just really want to say thank you so much to Charlie for being so supportive of the podcast for these last
he's so nice
4 or 5 years. We've really appreciated it and everything. He took us on a tour around the set and everything.
He's a really nice guy.
He's just the nicest guy, and he's so bloody modest and humble, and he doesn't take compliments very well at all.
No, he won't like this.
But he can't be here to interrupt me and say, "Oh, stop." But he is one of the life's nice guys.
He's got a personality that matches his beautiful face, doesn't he?
He does.
And it's not fair on the rest of us.
I just like he is.
But what a
gorgeous man. He's really, really lovely.
What about Imran?
Imran, I would hope that he's going to be a character that is remembered. But
he's had some really epic moments in the last few years.
He's had some
the soliloquies, and I think it was great how he basically stole the scene in
60th.
Yeah, he was the most interesting character in that week.
Yeah, in Jeff's court
which
scene,
involved a chicken cannibalising a corpse and rooftop battles. So the fact that with that scene where he could perform as a court speech that was so compelling and fascinating and well acted that it was better than a stunt. Shows everything. And then not just that, a scene where one of the most hated characters was sort of killed by somebody that he was abusing. That was pretty epic. But somehow you know, Charlie's scene there in the court felt way more satisfying.
He was a character that could have such gravitas and sternness and everything, and solemnity in those court scenes where it mattered, but also when he was, you know, off duty in his civvies, he was so much fun as well. Like, I'll never forget the wine tasting scene.
That was so good. I'm so sad we got robbed of more of those scenes.
Yeah, we didn't see enough kind of fun, let your guard down, Imran.
Yeah.
Because he was so good in that scene.
What was that scene that we had recently where he was like, he did that kind of diva, like, you ain't seen nothing yet? What was that?
That was the scene where when he's crowing to Dev that he's going to.
That was it. Oh, he was like, if you think I've been mean, oh, that was so good too. He delivered that so well. It was such a badass moment.
And just the little the couple moments between Toyah when they were talking about
Imran.
Their stuffed marrows that they'd be having for dinner or whatever, and all the stuff with the baby. Him being with Elsie was really cute. He was like chasing around the lounge and peekabooing with her.
Alfie.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's going to go down in Corrie history as one of the most memorable characters. I'm sure he would say the same as well.
Well, the thing is, 5 years isn't long enough.
5 years isn't quite long enough.
That's been going for 60 years.
Where there are
more people
vast
now.
swathes of time when the character isn't used. Yeah. And that's true. Last year we didn't get to see much of him, but I'm just so thrilled that he got a decent exit, because we've seen so many characters come and go in this programme. Some of them just dribble out, don't they?
Well, the thing is,
they decide at the beginning of the week, oh, I'm going to emigrate somewhere, and then off to go back at the taxi. He got a brilliant exit. He got a trailer. He got the Britain's Got Talent week. I loved the scene where he was rescuing Toyah from the car this week was amazing. It was like very green screeny, wasn't it? In place, they did have.
I couldn't see through my tears.
They did have scaffolding collapse onto the car, but when he was like dashing down out of the car, there's a bit of green screen behind him. But I love that rescuing. It must have been so much fun to have a proper action scene, because I don't think he's had a scene like that, has he? He's had a few fights, hasn't he? He's had a few duffs with Peter Barlow and some of the others over the year.
And the fun fact was that scene of the car crash was filmed in Cardiff.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it was, wasn't it? We know where they filmed that. We're going to make that part of our Corrie pilgrimage next time we go to Manchester.
If
anybody, lay a flower for Imran.
If you hear us on the podcast say something was filmed in Cardiff, from now on you must understand it was not filmed in Cardiff. Please do not think.
No.
We don't.
Unless we're talking about Doctor Who.
I don't want to
Nothing
spread
was filmed in Cardiff.
Misinformation. So Charlie, his next job
who knows?
In Doctor Who. That's my prediction.
Do you reckon? Well, he's not going to be the Doctor, is he?
No,
because we already had, unless that was a fake out.
Could have been, because I will say Russell T Davies keeps liking his Instagram post, and that's my only reason. But for some reason, I'm totally obsessed, because when they revealed who the Doctor was, we knew that Charlie was leaving, and when they were like, we're going to reveal the Doctor, I was like, oh my god, imagine.
I did.
And I was like, okay, dare I hope?
Maybe.
I don't know. And then when they revealed it, I was like, oh, he can't be in it. And then I thought, like, literally, like this week, I was like, you know what? There are more characters in Doctor Who than just the Doctor. He could be in an episode, like Sarah Lancashire.
Yeah. I honestly 100% have got no idea what Charlie's
No, he won't tell us. He told us he's not going to tell us.
Yeah, but who knows? Well, whether or not Imran is remembered by the Corrie watching population as a whole, he will absolutely go down as a very, very, very special character to us in this podcast, and hopefully that's enough. Because bloody love him. Bloody love him.
Hashtag bring back Imran. I can't even do it.
And I do not care if I come across as a screaming fanboy about this. He's bloody brilliant. I love him. And Better Speed forever, honestly. And
does that mean he gets Character of the Week, Michael?
I think. Sorry, Toyah. Imran has got to get Character of the Week this week.
If you want Character of the Week, Toyah, you should have died as well.
It's not just because, we're not going to get the chance to give him Character of the Week again, or will we? There's more to that car crash than meets the eye. But I'm just going to say, well, he decided that he was going to come clean. He wanted to confess. He saw the error of his ways thanks to that intervention by lovely Kelly. And also he did some good rescuing. He could have got out of the car and just run and saved his own hide, but
he
no,
loved
he
her,
went
even
back.
though she
He
said,
loved...
I hate you.
Yeah, he'd forgotten that little detail, hadn't he? I wonder if he'd remembered that. It's like,
Well, no,
screw you then,
can I just
Toyah, I'm
say,
leaving you in here to get squashed.
That proves to me that not that he would left her even, but that kind of makes me think that there was more that was said before the car actually crashed.
I don't know how amnesia works, but
Well,
anyway, he did an awesome rescue, so that's why I'm giving him my character of the week this week.
Yeah, he gets character of the week from me.
Definitely.
What are you going to score it?
Gosh, I don't know. The fact that this week left me sad means it can't... there's not a chance this is 5 out of 5. I thought that Monday was a little bit slow. I
thought the pacing was great.
I thought it was mostly great, but Monday I was watching thinking, come on, let's get on with it. And they didn't. They just had that...
give a shout out to the script writers, the stunt team.
Oh, yeah. We had an Ellen
job.
Taylor this week. We had an Ian Kershaw, didn't we? He wrote that great dialogue for Georgia on yesterday's episode.
Wonderful performances, wonderful behind the scenes, absolutely fantastic.
I think that definitely...
A bunch of bastards.
The fact that they seem to be writing Abby and Kevin getting away with it counts it down a little bit. I'd like to have seen some Jubilee, although I think if they had Jubilee, any moment they'd spent on it, I'd be like, shut up, I don't care, get on with the action.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the fact that they were teasing after Tuesday's episode that we would get to find out about what actually happened, because Duncan Lindsay put on Twitter, hey everybody, there's going to be flashbacks on Friday. I kind of worked myself up into, what's it going to be? Is there going to be something unexpected here? And it turned out to be, as far as we think at the moment, the easiest, most obvious thing. That counts against it for me. The stunt was an alright stunt. It looked a lot of fun with the building falling on top and everything, but it's not going to go down in Corey's top 5 stunts, but I'm not saying it was a bad one. I'm just talking myself down from a 5 at the moment, basically. I think I'm going to go with 4 crumbs in the Vegemite out of 5. Does that sound bad? 4 is okay.
Fine.
4 is a good week with flaws. This week was in some ways flawed. Imran left for one thing. He died. That's bad.
That's the worst thing that could have happened to me.
What?
And it is all about, don't make no bones about it, it's all about me all the time. Yeah. So
you going for a 4, or could you go higher or lower than that?
I'm going to go 4.5.
Oh, really?
Kidnapping plots.
4.5
that didn't
plots.
Actually go anywhere or get punished for any reason.
Fine. Okay, well, that's our score. What did you think, listeners? I'm very curious to find out what people thought. I mean, we've been seeing people's comments going on the Facebook group this week. You can always tell on a big week, the Facebook group gets absolutely flooded with people saying, I like this, I hated this didn't make sense, I predict this. But and it all comes down to what you click when you do that Facebook poll at the end of the week. So make sure you head over to our page.
Yes, please let us know. Very interested. I think it would be nice to have a breakdown as well of what, because sometimes, the score can not be, you can end up with 3.5 because actually loads of people gave it 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd like to know.
What's the mean, the median, and the mode?
I think that some people are going to be coming out of this week not feeling very satisfied and feeling a bit angry, because I think that they're all going to blame Toyah.
I also think that people will be thinking, they might be making comparisons to other Britain's Got Talent
Well, of
weeks.
course, and
if you put this against, Victoria Court Fire, or this against the Factory Siege, it was lower key on the stunt front, but for the drama front, and the fact that they had the balls to make the whole episode about that one story. Thank goodness they did that. Actually,
I think the emotional it's like you can have things exploding and stuff, but the emotional impact was like my heart exploded.
I'm really looking forward to seeing some more brilliant performances from Georgia Taylor, because she's good.
Be given a lot of things to do.
She is going to be doing a fair bit of emoting over the next few weeks and months.
And the thing is, is she going to be strong enough to stand up for herself, or is she going to just give in to her sadness and go, I don't care because everything's been taken away from me, say what you want? I don't care if I go to prison because my life's over anyway. I might as well go do some yoga.
I hope they do it well because, one of my fears is that they make her into they villainise her and have everybody hate her.
Well,
my other fear is that they do what Coronation Street has done with an awful lot of its female characters recently and just put a deluge of misery on her, like we've seen with Emma, we've seen with Abby, we've seen with Leanne, just misery after misery after misery, and it gets really wearing, doesn't it? It's like, I can't be dealing with this. Yeah. I don't like this character as much anymore because they're just kind of bumming me out with all the depression that they're going through.
Oh, I know
which you shouldn't,
dead, but stop bumming me out.
But so I don't want them to do that with Toyah, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I thought this would
Give
be
her Elsie.
Short episode.
No.
Because I was like, we've only got one story to talk about.
Quite a big one, though. Quite a big one. But are we done?
I don't know if I've fully explained my thoughts, but I think we should stop.
I think we've given the gist.
I think you've got...
What more can you ask from a 3-hour podcast?